Hey, check it. Look at Arius in there. Look. Zeitgeist is on the firm. Barn doors on the firm. Amazing. I'm just going to open up my buy me a coffee link because people who use that grift. Um, Look at Dan. I think he's gone to have a pint or something. But yeah, we're back. We are absolutely back. Barn door. Oh, I hope. Can someone else? Can you get busy on the chat? I just don't want it to. I don't want it to just dry up there and feel like it hasn't worked. There's 7 people here. There was 170 odd in the last one. Chasworth is back. Yes. Hello, Lars. How are you, mate? Daniel, it worked.
Oh,
It
thank
worked.
God for that. Now we can
Look.
use the audience as a crutch. Good
Yeah,
Lord.
but you can see how long it's been since you've been a YouTuber. Don't tell the truth, Dan. For Christ's sake.
Do people not like the truth? Yeah.
We had 177 people watching that last one. There's 27 in here, so we'll give it a little bit of time. We'll just say hello to everyone. Hello Arius, hello Daniel. Good to see you. Yeah, like and subscribe, people. We're back to 34 now. Anglo, hello mate. Good to see you. Hello Livy. Didn't he do well? He did, yeah. Doc Shelley, your review of my novel was heartbreaking. I loved it. It meant so much to me. You know, they all do if they're good, but yours was a considered. You know, you obviously spent time thinking about the book as you read it and as you wrote the review. So thank you. Not James from Philadelphia. This is much better. Sometimes it just takes a bit of that. Hang on. So was Meister update. Good news and bad news. I'm cancer free. That is very good news. I know you had to lose half your guts and that, but you got to, yeah, that tends to happen. But people, show Ozmeister some love. Stick an OZ. I'm so not American. Stick an Oz in the chat. Fair play, man. I remember you telling us last time they were taking half your stomach out. Picking up infections in hospital is kind of standard practice. I'm not saying that that's any better for you, but I'm glad the cancer's sorted.
Is he in this country or is he somewhere else?
Yeah, he's in the UK. So,
all right. Well, good luck, my friend. It's good news and bad news, but hopefully you pull through. I'm sure you will. You'll be all right.
I'll tell you what, he's had Crohn's disease. He's had a lot, and when he comes on here chatting, and you know how he deals with it, I wouldn't. I'd just get drunk until I died or something.
Man, when I was in hospital earlier this year, I was only in there for 4 nights, and that was enough for me. And that was a relatively regular thing, broken bone. I couldn't, you know, if I had anything really seriously wrong with me, I don't know what I would do. I'd just give up, like you said.
It's weird, isn't it? It's weird. You know, you'd like to think that you could deal with it, but it's difficult. 42, first super chat of the day. Although, because Dan doesn't show himself, if you see that QR code, let's get the grift out of the way. You can use super chats. I've walked away from my business, people. I am now a full-time writer and YouTuber. That's my income. Ain't going very well, is it? But yeah, if you use that QR code, you can just wave your camera phone across it, or there's a link in the description, and you will get your bit of glory on the screen. Nate has bought a super chat as well, so not a super chat, a buy me a coffee. So I will get those up on the screen so people can see them. Thank you, 42, and happy 2026. Sex, the Freudian slip on that. You know what? I'll tell you what, that was a blatant Freudian slip as well. Because just as I was saying to you, 42, I hope you have a great 2026. I remembered, I wanted to tell everyone, 42 bought his missus, Emma G, who's a scrub, comes in here. He bought her my novel for Christmas. and she bought 42, my novel, for Christmas.
Oh God.
So I thought about you and Emma, and of course, sex. So I don't know if I should be saying things like that.
No, I don't know if you should. But that's very
Yeah,
sweet, isn't it? That's very sweet of them to do that for each other.
it's
But
lovely.
now they're gonna have to return one of them, so you're gonna have to cough up some refunds there.
No, what they're going to do is they're going to keep hold of them, and then when I do the UK launch and fly over, they will bring them both for the signatures, of
Is that what
course.
you're
So
gonna do? Are you gonna fly over to do a
yeah,
in-person signing thing?
I'll do a UK launch, yeah, of course. When I go wide, they call it going wide. Lartus has taught me this. I don't.
Oh.
I've published before. I've published a novel before, but it wasn't through. I haven't put it on Amazon. Didn't exist when I published my first novel. But they con you, Amazon. They say to you, have you got an ISBN number and a barcode? And if you say no, because most people won't have because they don't know what they're doing, Amazon are like, that's all right. We'll give it to you, and they give you an ISBN number because you have to buy an ISBN number and then you have to create a barcode. But Amazon give it to you, but then you can't sell it in anywhere but Amazon.
Yeah, it becomes their thing almost, really, doesn't it?
Well, they're the publisher, whereas
Yeah.
mine's published by Ugly Mink.
Mhm.
There you go.
I wonder who runs that company.
Eat that, you. I told you, you come on here with your truth. But listen, now, thank you, bless you all for coming back. Now got 120. Let me tell you something. This is important. It's the last bit of my grifting. It won't be. If you're considering buying my novel, right? If you're going to, but you just haven't got round to it. Let me tell you something that I mean. This is how you can really help me. If say 20 of you want to buy it and are going to buy it, and you buy it, and that 20 is spread over 3 weeks, that's still 20 sales, and I'd be very grateful, eternally grateful. But if half of that amount of people bought it on the same day, that helps me out so much more because of the way the algorithm works. I mean, I've already got insane visibility because of my number one in new releases and my 15,000 and all those other metrics I gave you. So if you are considering it, buy it, please. Jed said, Happy New Year's, Chris. Congratulations on the novel. How do I purchase the signed copy? Well, I just explained that. Buy it off of Amazon, and when I do the launch, it'll be in London, but I might do London, Edinburgh, Manchester, I don't know,
Sunderland.
some sort of tour. Sunderland are well done for beating City. We don't talk football on here, though, because those numbers just go... And speaking of football, Nate is a Spurs fan. He's changed his name from Spurs Nate, though. He says this, Happy New Year, Chris and Dan. Surely... Oh, look, he's got the football, look. Surely Sunderland will stay up this season. Did you or Dan see that Lucy Colony was going mad? Let me get rid of that stupid thing. Was going mad
At online accounts for being
online
anonymous on Twitter. I saw something. I didn't look at it. I didn't read it all. It was a long tweet. I didn't read it all. But yeah, I don't know. She was defending Steve Laws, I think, in some way.
Well, we've got a clip of Steve Laws. So there you go. Someone wanted to ask what my first book was called. It was called Tired, etc. A couple of scrubs bought it. A couple of scrubs had some of the marketing. We've done loads of guerrilla marketing. And one of the scrubs sent me a photo that he'd kept and framed and put on his wall from like 30 years ago. So that was good. That was stocked in Waterstone's brick and mortar stores back in the day.
But
Hello,
Nate's
good to
correct.
see you.
Nate is correct. He knows that Sunderland will not just stay up this season, they're probably going to win the league with a records points total, I would assume. But yeah, we can't talk about sports ball on this channel, can we, Chris? We can't. We're not allowed. Bread and circuses. Fuck you for enjoying things.
How? Yeah, you got to be on the front line 24/7. 42. Thank you for your donation. But it would appear that Picard, who gets shunted when a YouTube idol comes on, says he drops a Lady Godiva and says, "Happy New Year, Dan and Chris. Here's some dosh for the flights or rice." Well, I could tell you a very boring story, but I won't. I've managed to accrue a lot of points through the business Amex card.
Oh.
And because I've walked away from the business partner, who hasn't got as many shares as me, reckons they're going to get spent on business things. But they're my flights to the UK to publish my book. And the card's got my name on it, so good luck
Business
with
class, champagne.
that, yes, but you have to, Dan.
Yeah.
But
You have to. You've got no choice but to fly in luxury. It's really not up to him. Yeah.
It's true. To get the most value for your points, if you spend them on economy, you get about 1.5p per point. But if you spend them on first class, I think it is, you get 3p per point, which works out cheaper. So yeah, we'll have a bed, we'll have a menu, we'll have waiter service, we'll have our own little
some heated nuts. Steady on.
But I don't know if I want to take my missus to London.
No, leave her behind. Have a boys' trip. Lads on tour.
It's not.
Isn't that
It's
what
not that. It's just it's 33% white, and she'll be like, "Where the fuck are we?" And I'll say, "I don't know. Don't know either."
So when are you gonna? What's the general rough idea of when you're gonna do this?
June.
Oh, June. That's good. I might come down.
Yeah, well, I might come up. Like I say, I might do if I'm going to fly all the way over there, it probably makes more sense. It will make more sense when I'm pitching it to the likes of Waterstones and all the indie bookshops. Not so much the indies, unless they've got different stores in different cities. But if I can show them a tour schedule, anyway, enough about that. But
sorry, I'm not enough about that, and I'm aware that look. Who cares? Regular viewers of this channel know that you're going to talk about your novel. It's fine. But I genuinely have some questions about this. So
listen, I'll talk about my novel all day long. Listen.
Oh, we all know that. We know that.
People who don't care about my novel, and if you're not watching this live, pinned comment, I'll put a timestamp in, click on that, and you won't have to see all this. But you will have had to have seen all this to have heard me say that. So
that'll be the most upvoted comment after the stream. But no, I do have a question. Oh, go on. Hang on. Go on, do it.
Adam Somerset says. I said to Packer once, I said, "Isn't it funny you don't say a word? We do a 2.5-hour stream and you say like 6 words." And he went to me, "Have you ever tried getting a word in when you're talking?" And I went, "Yeah, now you say it." Anyway, Happy New Year all. Chris, please talk about the inspiration for the fine cover of your book and offer some tips on what makes a really good cover. Listen, this is what I learned in business and what I didn't learn in marketing. So this is interesting. I'll give you the inspiration and I'll give you the tips on what I broke the first rule of self-publishing. I designed that cover myself. There's a quote on the top from Will Self there. And I thought, don't be a dick and just do that. And I found a very talented and well-known cover designer. He charges between $800 and $1,200 for a cover. So that's the front, the spine, and the back. Yeah, look at the back. Nothing, just the blurb and the barcode. And I thought I'll send it to him. I said, "Look, this is my idea, but I've designed it myself." He got back to me, he said, "It only needs a bit of centering." He said, "It's just a bit off center." He said, "It's a brilliant cover." He said, "I'll do the spine, the back, and center that for you for 80 quid. I was like, "Sweet." Now, I'm not taking the props for that. Here is what you do. You find someone else who was successful and you copy them. That is essentially a pastiche of Philip Roth's novel, Portnoy's Complaint. And if you've never read Portnoy's Complaint, you should. I'll show you it now. Portnoy's his actual complaint is that he can't stop wanking. It's a great novel.
It's a bad affliction, isn't it?
Well, we've all got it in many ways. Well, we all had it. I mean, some of us are getting a bit over the hill and have got very demanding girlfriends, so I don't really get the time. Here, I'll show you. So Philip Roth, probably the most significant and influential writer of the American contemporary fiction up until David Foster Wallace, we could say. Here we go. Let me just grab one. That should do, and I will show you and ruin all the mystique. There you go. See it? Yellow background, black lettering, red for the author's name. Now, I'm not as well known as Philip Roth, so I made my name a bit smaller, but
Yeah, and you've gone more mustard in tone on the.
well,
cover.
that changes all over the place. When Packer came on the other week, well, every stream we do, he held his up and they looked like they were different colours. It's just, different cameras, different lighting and all that lot. So, even in business, people say to me often, they say, I want to set up an online business. What should I do? I say, well, what? Your own e-commerce store or on Amazon? They say, well, Amazon's easier, isn't it? I say, well, they've got pros and cons. But if you want to go on Amazon, get a bit of software like Jungle Scout, and Jungle Scout will tell you what's selling the most on Amazon, what profit they're making, and then you just copy them but do it better. So, like, I had a mate who was earning, it's a scrubism, but he was earning 30 grand a month selling like a big throw for couples, like a fleece throw. So when you're both on the sofa at night watching a horror movie, it's this big sort of cozy fleece throw.
So he's just
Selling
drop shipping
them-
that, I'm assuming.
No, not even drop shipping it. He was getting them from Alibaba, which
Oh,
is
and then send it to Amazon warehouse and.
yeah, and then it's FBA fulfilled by Amazon. But the other geezer, they were costing £3 each because he was buying them in such huge quantities. The other geezer on Amazon was selling them for £15 a pop, so he put them up for £10 a pop, and then it's just a race to the bottom.
Yeah.
And because he had a lot of money, he just bought a bigger bulk that the other geezer couldn't compete with, and the other geezer disappeared. And 3 years of that, and he's retired. He's 42.
Oh well, good for him. Jesus, that's really good.
Find someone who's doing well and
Copy
him, but better.
Well, isn't that just the Western world, especially when it comes to art? You're talking about the cover there. Art is just the continuous process of stealing and redoing it in a different way.
There's that famous quote, isn't there? Good authors borrow, great authors steal. I nick everything. I mean, with art, people talk about originality, but you can only create art with what's available, and what's available is what's gone before. So the whole idea of originality is a bit of an internal contradiction.
This is why it makes me quite funny. I don't know if you and I have talked about AI a lot on this channel for the last 3 or 4 years. But when you see these very rabid, almost radical anti-AI people who say it's not art, it can't be art, it just steals what other people have done.
Yeah,
yeah, it does. Yeah.
People said that about photography as well, and I love modernism. I think the dissident right have got modernism wrong. I love modernism. I think the invention of the camera saved art. Look at all the impressionists, the post-impressionists, the modernists, the abstract expressionists. We're talking Van Gogh, we're talking Cézanne, Monet, Manet, Pissarro, and then going into the modernists, Paul Klee, Kandinsky, Jackson Pollock, Andy Warhol, and look at what all those works say about the context they were made in. Look at the difference between Van Gogh's peasant shoes that he painted on a chair, like impasto, at about 1902, I imagine, to Andy Warhol's Diamond Dust Shoes, which was a screen print of a load of glittery stilettos that he told a student to actually design and screen print. So there was no original. They're all copies, a copy without an original. So that's just like the advent of postmodernism. Jean-Francois Lyotard in The Postmodern Condition said postmodernism isn't about this or this or this, it's about technology. And so photography, when you could capture reality to a sort of a two-dimensional surface level capturing of reality, there's everyone was like, "Oh, art's dead." Well, no, art became more important and more significant. AI is just a tool. If you don't like AI, well, why are you sitting on the internet? Well, I don't understand what the difference is. Anglo-Saxon drops a Lady Godiva. Hello, mate. Happy New Year to you. I don't know how you're doing. I know you lost your job in the middle of last year. I hope you have a good 2026 on that. I hope it turns out well for you. Thank you for that. Lovely.
My avatar. Sorry.
Yes, I do.
My avatar that's on screen right now, the red and blue face. So that's me in the picture, right? And I took that photograph, and it was a lot of effort. Well, a lot of effort. I had to do stuff. Well, look. I'll get round to the point. So my overall point is I could recreate that probably in 5 seconds with AI now at a touch of a button.
There you go.
But the way I made it originally is I had blue and red lights on my face, and I set the camera to long exposure, and then I turned my head to get this like blurred effect on it, right? So there's a certain amount of effort that went into that avatar. But if you didn't know that story, it doesn't fucking matter and nobody cares. I could create a new avatar in AI, and it'll just be accepted depending on whether people like me or not. So it's like when people say, "Oh, AI art is it's cheap and it's not worth anything because it doesn't take any effort to create," my thought is, well, that's completely subjective, and it depends on the people who know the story of the original process to begin with. The end result is all people care about, is what I'm saying.
I could not give a fuck how much effort or time a piece of work took. If someone wrote a novel in 2 days...
Is it good or not? That's all I care about.
There you go. If someone wrote a novel in 2 days and it was amazing, that's an amazing novel. If someone went, "Oh, it took me 30 years and it's shit," well, I don't care about how long it took you. What AI will do to the creatives is make them up their game. Because there's novels going out on Amazon at the moment, AI generated. And AI will write you a novel in like 10 minutes. AI will make you a cover. So what have novelists got to do? They've got to be better. Simple.
Yeah, I'm going to get into writing erotica through AI.
So much money in it. The old fucking Minotaur milking farm is just... Anglo gets back to me with an Ayrton Senna, says, "I'm back in work, bruv," and he proves it as well. That's great news, man. I saw you change, understandably. I'm in a bit of a quandary at the moment. I've got enough money to sort of see me and the missus for a year, but that was meant to build the house. So I've got to get this book written and I've got to do more YouTubing. But AI has improved my YouTubing. AI has made my thumbnails so much better. I get more viewers and all writing descriptions that actually what's the word, Dan? Writing titles and descriptions that
rank as search engine optimized. What do you say?
No, well, so that is involved, but that actually do their job. Whereas I used to just put random words in and call my streams things like Dangerfield's Friday lemon meringue pie, and it's like okay, but now I'm doing it and I need the money for it as well. I need to up my game. I need to get new subs. And since I've been using AI for my thumbnails, for my descriptions, for my video titles, I've got new subscribers. My channel is growing. It hasn't grown for 6 years. So I'm all right with it. Nice one, Anglo. While we're there, I just got to quickly do this one. Very kind of you all. Very, very kind, as always. But while we've been gabbing, old AAA and Jimmy from Philly have both dropped to buy me a coffee. Big up, Danger, about to buy a bloody new bookka. You. It's a new scrubism. It's a new scrubism. Everyone will now refer to it as my bookka. And I'm all right with that if you're buying it. Not appreciated. It isn't shit. It's excellent. Read the reviews on Amazon. Don't go by what I say. Go by the reviews that I wrote for other people when they bought it. Jimmy from Philly says, your guest, is the Iconoclast. He's not my guest. He's a hero of the dissident right, for Christ's sake.
How fucking dare you, Jimmy? How dare you?
I know.
I am offended.
That nobody who doesn't show his face sounds like beard meets food. Lol.
Have you seen him? I know who that is. He's a YouTuber who does these food challenges where he just tries to eat as much stuff as possible in a time limit. And he's got a huge beard. I think he is from the Northeast somewhere, but I'm not.
I was about to say, is he up from your manor? Because that would make
somewhere,
sense.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's disgusting content. I mean, it gets stuck in his beard and everything. I mean, hats off to him. He's making a mint, but not my type.
There's a lot of South Korean and Southeast Asian girls doing it, and the thing is, they're all bulimic. You know, they're stick thin. They sit and eat like 5 lobsters, 20 kilo of spaghetti, and then there's a little jump cut. It's very subtle. Often, you know, when you overlap and you get a transition merge, so they sort of just. And yeah, they've gone to the toilet and that's all come out and ripped their stomach apart, and then they carry on eating. And there's very strange blokes. I'm going, that's it, eat, you little stick thin girl, get fat, you fuck. Oh, leave.
Well, that sounds a lot like projection, Chris. I mean, trust you to find the Asian women doing something like that. And
it's not projection.
Consuming the content. Yeah,
you know.
Give it a go.
You got to try everything once. Thank you, AAA, and thank you, James. I hope you're well. Happy New Year to the pair of thee.
Now, before you continue, Chris, because I've put a mental pin in what I was going to say earlier, and don't worry, everyone, Chris is going to put the timestamp in the comments where you can skip all this, but I am genuinely interested about your England book tour trip, your book launch trip. Yeah. Now, here's my question. So you said earlier that you have to pitch it to Waterstones or certain stores that you need to sell it in, I presume, right? Now, how is that going to work when they do a quick Google search of you and figure out, oh, shit, this guy's been in the distant right online for years. He's got an article in Times about him. Or is that just that doesn't exist anymore, that?
Well, it does, but they're interested in shifting units, and once they get the back end, which they've got access to of Amazon, and once they see that I was a comedian for 10 years, that I've got a YouTube channel, that I've got a Substack, once they see that I already had a novel that was published in Waterstones, all these things tick boxes. They don't care really. They pretend to when they're talking in the newspaper.
You've got Will Self still giving you quotes for your cover, I suppose.
Well, all right. Since we're talking about it, I'm going to tell you something amazing. There's an American author called James Frey. I think in America they pronounce it Fry, but it's Frey. Years ago, about 30 years ago, he wrote a book called A Million Little Pieces. And I read it, and it's about addiction and recovery. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And Oprah Winfrey loved it. And she got him on a show. She put it in Oprah's book club. Now, when you get your book in Oprah's book club, that's the pinnacle of global marketing. He sold about 100 million copies, not just in America, but globally. It was translated into local languages and all that. And he became an overnight sensation just because of that. Right. The book was deserving of it. A year later, the anniversary, the production team rang him up and said, well, it was a year to the day, your life's changed, and you live in a nice big house and you're a celebrity and all this. Would you like to come back on? And he was like, yeah, sure. And he went back on, and about 3 minutes before About 3 minutes before the show actually started, the producer come and put his arm around his neck, and I can't remember the exact name, but they've called it. He said to James Frey, "I just want to tell you, we've changed the name of the show from James Frey 1 year anniversary to James Frey The Reckoning. It's going to get a bit sticky out there." And James Frey's just like, "What? And they're like, "That way." He sat down, and Oprah Winfrey, live, like one of the biggest shows in the US at the time, she went to him, "Why did you lie to us?" And he's like, "Eh?" She went, "Why did you lie to us?" And this, check it out. What he done, what James Frey done, he had the audacity when telling a story to exaggerate a little bit.
Right.
That's it. That's it. He told his publishers that it wasn't a memoir, and in a contract it said they might publish it as a memoir. And when it's your first book, you just sign it, man. Yeah, I'll take the money. I'll take the global visibility and distribution. Sweet. And she said, "Well, it turns out that you didn't go to the dentist and not have anaesthetic." And he was sort of like, "Yeah, but I'm just telling a story." And the thing is, when people tell each other stories, like in the street, or even to your mate, like Dan, imagine me and you are chatting on WhatsApp or something. I say, "Oh, Dan, last night I was in a boozer over here. There was about 30 birds in there, like proper glamour model quality, right?" And I'm sitting there half cut, and these two have come over and they said, "Do you want to come back with us?" And already there weren't 30, there was 10. They weren't glamour model quality. I was pissed. But it's not deception that motivates the exaggeration. It's because you want them to get the sensation of what it felt like being there. You're not lying to your friends. But because they weren't there, you think they're not really going to understand it if I sort of just say there was fire. They're the people you don't talk to, because you go, "How are you?" And they go, "Well, last night I went out and there was these four girls and I was a bit drunk," and you're just thinking, crank it up a bit, you know.
Yeah.
This ain't cutting it. I've got other things to do. So, and anyway, he was then kicked out of the whole world of the whole literary world. No one would touch him, and he's had 5 best-selling novels since then that he published himself. And he said in an interview, he said it was weird. He said, "I got kicked out of a club I didn't even want to be in." He said, "So it worked out nice for me."
Well, he
He
got
said
kicked
it
out
was
of a club that he
difficult.
was barely in anyway. He wasn't really a part of it. They kicked him out
Well,
prematurely, it sounds like.
no, because that was a year after he published it, and he
Oh,
was
sorry.
like
I
on
thought
all
I
the
thought he
chat
was like
shows.
brand new. I thought that was
No, that when Oprah ambushed him, that was a year after the book came out.
Mm,
But he said that it was the best thing that ever happened to him because he didn't have to, he's got full control over his cover, the title of the book, what goes in it and what doesn't go in it. If you're with a big publishing house, they can say to you, we're going to change the title, and you just have to say yeah, or they won't publish it. And they might say, this section, we get rid of that. We don't like that. And if you want them to publish it, you have to go along with that, you know. And he said
well,
it actually freed him up.
I'm sure it did. I mean, we're all looking forward to your English book tour. Are you going to do
I'll let
live
you,
readings with a microphone and
yeah,
everything? A full thing?
live readings, but
Should film
also
them.
there will be a little bit of improvisation as well, because I'm not just going to sit down and start reading. I mean, the book is, I don't want to make the same mistake as James Frey, but it's about 90% it happened. And by that other 5% isn't just made up; they're just slight exaggerations or structural necessities. Because if you're trying to tell a story, if you haven't got something that joins F to G, you have to put something in there. But if I was just to read it, excuse me, I think what's more interesting about a live reading is I can sort of, well, I've just opened it up. I'll say, It's hard to accept that though, because you always think you know everything, simply because you don't know what you don't know. And then I'll sort of hold the book and sort of say, and then I can sort of tell another story, or expand on it, and make the live reading more than just reading a book that you've either already bought or you're about to buy. And having been a comic for 10 years, I'm confident that I can hold a room together. Hang on. I'm distracted by Anglo. I'm so happy, mate. I'm so happy for you. I saw you sort of go downhill a little bit in the chat and that, and I kept telling you that the streams are on, emailing you. But that's great news. But thank you, Dan, for asking me.
You're probably gonna meet a bunch of the scrubs that you don't know that well, but you see their avatars and their names every now and then.
Oh, definitely. That's really the motivating factor. I need to do a UK launch, yes.
Yeah.
But Scrubs want signed copies. They deserve signed copies. They've helped me out so much. They've been encouraging.
But, I mean, not to offend anyone, but what if they're all a bunch of fucking weirdos?
Well, they are.
What if the Scrubs turn up and you're like, oh, Jesus, this is my audience? Good Lord. Oh, my God, what am I doing?
Daniel, they already are, though. We're the gang of people that no other gang wanted. We're the people that no other gang wanted, and we've all managed to come together. The Scrubs are just recovering alcoholics, junkies, homeless. But so also some very successful people, but without a doubt weirdos, and that's what makes us lovely and unique. But when I done the Dangerfield live, what was it? Dangerfield's Chinese prescription. I met about 20, 25 of them.
I remember that. That was ages ago, but I do remember that.
Yeah. Went out for a Chinese dinner, and then about half of us went out for a Chinese massage, and then we had a few drinks.
You can write a book about that.
I'll tell you what, it was hilarious.
Change the names.
There were some funny things that happened. Right, so there was me not talking about my novel. Last word on the novel. If you are intending to buy it today or tomorrow, because then as a group you'll help me so much more than it's spread out over the next 2 weeks. If you're going to, I'm not trying to persuade you. That would be ridiculous. If you donate using Buy Me a Coffee, put it in the chat. And if Dan doesn't pick up on it or I don't pick up on it, say it again. Because I won't know unless I keep checking the Buy Me a Coffee, which will sort of put me off what we're doing. Right, timestamp. Where are we? 37 minutes. Right, 37:42. Let me make a note of that. On my leg. 37:42.
Let me pour myself a drink and then we can really start. Let's do that.
Pags is in. Special K on Acid is here. If you tell a boring story, it will make the mediocre ones sound interesting. Yeah, but if you say a mediocre one, it will make the interesting ones really interesting. It's an odd logic, Special K, but I'll maybe go for it. 42 says, yeah, ignore the football and watch it become woke because you're not there to object. For fuck's sake, wise up. Yeah. You know my position on this. In a culture war, you don't give up territory. The English invented association football. You don't just let go of it. That's giving up culture in a culture war. It might not be how you'd like it, but just handing it over to the left is ridiculous. Martin W's on the firm. Thank you for that, Adam Somerset. By the way, I got a bit distracted because of the old novel.
What did 42 say there? I was at the counter in the kitchen. I didn't hear what he said. But you said, are you talking about football there? Not giving away ground, is how you said.
Yeah, his point basically was, I can grab it again. Oh, no, I can't. I don't know where it's gone. Don't tell me the comments are dying on me again.
I just paraphrase what he said.
Well, his point was, just ignoring it. I don't want to put words into his mouth. I don't know where it's gone. What the hell is happening here? There does seem to be something going wrong with the old. His point was, if you know, if you're not, you're just giving it up. If you're not there and you're letting it go woke. But you've already abandoned it, so why wouldn't it go woke? You know, if you're not going to support it and you're not going to be part of the people who are going to fight for it to be what you want it to be, you know, how can you complain later? I feel like
Yeah,
that
I
about
understand that.
all cultural things. I
Yeah,
see
yeah.
Ams in the chat there. Thank you, Ams, for your buy me a coffee. Ams is actually from Finland. Dan, did you know this? In Finland, they go to school for 4 hours a day, and
No, I
yet
did not know that.
their quality of their education is amazing because they don't fuck about. They actually just teach them what is good for them. They've got a really high quality of education. You don't need that 6 hours of nonsense because they've got good teachers. Teachers are respected. Kids listen. Kids do the work, and so they only have to do 4 hours a day. There you
Well,
go.
what was the was there some kind of study a while back? You might know more about this than me, where they said a condensed, intense 3 to 4 hour workday is way better than an 8 hour 9 to 5 for productivity. You know, you can just get more done if you're like in the zone,
There
and
you
then
go.
and then you just crash out like I'm done now, going home. Productivity
Yeah.
is way better that way.
I mean, I don't know that exactly, but the psychology is there with that, of
Sure,
course. Yeah.
that's what I mean.
Like if I was to sit down on my computer and do some writing and do 30 minutes and then fuck off, go shopping, come back, do 30 minutes. No. If I was to sit there, which is what I do for 5 hours solid, even if I spent 5 hours stretched over a 12-hour period, it's not going to be as good a quality. You know, yeah, yeah, the psychology supports what you're saying.
And of course,
Jingo's in the chat.
what I just said doesn't apply to these big corporations in the West where you just need drones to spend their time doing the manual labor for as long as possible. You know, Amazon warehouses, for example. But no, I'm talking
Yeah.
more about individual output and work, and working for yourself. But
I am listening, Daniel. I've just got absolutely nothing to reply to you.
that's fine. I was going to say so 42. I was just going to say 42. There's a couple of good Northern Irish lads in the current Sunderland team, and I like to see them do well. So just because I know he's from Northern Ireland, that came to my mind.
Anglo-Saxon says, Amber, do you have a brick in Dangerfield's house? Now, I'd said the grift is over, but this is the last mention of the grift. I'm going to have to change that timestamp tonight because it's now been another 6 minutes. What he's talking about the brick in Dangerfield's house. Dan, do you know about this?
No.
Oh, you're going to
Although
love it.
I feel like I do know something about it, but I can't articulate it. I know
Right.
half the story.
So most of you will know that my missus bought some land in the jungle. I'm going to go and live in the jungle. I am Colonel Kurt Dangerfield. It's my apocalypse now dream come true. It's about the size of a football pitch and a half. It's huge, not
Wow.
because I've got loads of money, but because it's Cambodia. You know. But we're going to build an house there. The missus has done it all. She's already built all the footings. We've planted loads of fruit and vegetable trees that will be producing fruit in 1 or 2 years. Durian, watermelons, pineapples, bananas, all the nice exotic stuff, and things like carrots and plantain and potatoes. But that don't go down so well. Ams has done it. Look, Ams has already done it. That's amazing. Anglo bought it for Ams. Damn the scrubs. Amber, Ams. Anglo asked if you knew, but have you got a brick in Dangerfield's house? So it's not even made out of bricks because it's Cambodian. But on one side of the house, there's going to be a scrubs wall. It's 20 quid to get your name. It comes from when they built the Emirates Stadium for Arsenal to get a load of money, to generate some revenue. you can have a brick with your name on it, like a little plaque. And I've got one. I've got one up at the Arsenal. It says,
I do remember this now. You have told me this, and Stadium of Light, Sunderland did the same thing in the 90s. So I'm up to speed now. Yes, I get it.
it's quite funny. Up at the Arsenal, all the ones around mine say things like Mick and Julie, Gooners Forever, and the next one would be sort of like UTA, always invincible. My one says Dangerfield, Flaneur. But they're all the people who've got a brick in the wall. They're actually there. So, Amber, you have to decide what you want on your brick that Anglo-Saxon has very nicely just bought for you. So let me know in the chat, Amber. You can have Amber, you can have AMS, you can have Amber Finland, Finnish AMS. The more letters it is, the harder it is for me to chisel out or, permanent marker, biro, whatever it turns out to be.
So you're going to put the message in yourself, or you're not going to pay like a craftsman to do it for you? You're going to do it yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, no,
it won't be right. I'll have you know, my old man was a pretty good stonemason. He taught me I'm not gonna carve it out of stone. It'll be wood anyway, so I'll just chisel it out. I'm gonna get a Dremel, aren't I?
All right.
Dremel.
Just practice first, I would say.
No, I will. Amber, that's so kind of you, Anglo. That really is. Right, so Amber, you need to let me know in the chat, and if I miss it, let me know. Right, we're all good. We've done everything. It's only been 46 minutes. That's why I put the pinned comment in. Daniel, you contacted me and you said, let's do a stream about, sure. And what did you say?
Well, the thing that prompted me to get in touch was the reaction from the recent Andrew Gold and Steve Law's podcast. But then I was looking into the reactions more broadly, and it stems back to the Fuentes thing with Piers Morgan. And overall, it's an umbrella topic. I feel, about where the conversation is going and the people who are desperate to try and stop it going there. And I thought that would be an interesting thing to talk about today. And the chat can get involved. There's Amber's brick.
There you go. You've joined a merry crew. I haven't told the missus yet. I did, but I don't think she quite understood. So there might be some refunds somewhere along the line. Not really. Right. So you're talking about the movement of the Overton window that seems to be happening regarding what people are talking about.
I think it's accelerating quite quickly. And this year in general, the last time you and I did a stream was about 4 or 5 months ago in the summertime. And we touched on it then. We said that the discourse is becoming really accelerated in a way that I didn't even predict. I mean, I knew that the wind was only blowing in one direction, but the speed that it has gotten there is surprising to me. And the Fuentes movement has really kind of defined that. But now you're seeing people in this country and all of these podcasts that have rose to prominence in the previous years that are trying their best to slow everything down. And I think it's nothing new for us because we've experienced this for years and years and years, but now it's become more wider and there's a bigger audience for these things now. It's just going to be a fascinating time for us to look at this. What's going on?
I'll tell you what, let's start off with a little bit of the Fuentes Morgan show. I've got a few clips ready to roll. Let's just have I've missed a bit at the beginning, but just in case, I made a video about it, a stream about it. No, a video about this not long ago, and it got 5,000 views in one day, which is unheard of for me. So let's have a little look at Morgan and Fuentes. And the thing that blew my mind about this is Morgan hasn't stopped writing on X about how we absolutely own Fuentes from start to finish.
Right.
Whereas
Yeah.
anyone with half a brain or more knows that it was easily the other way round. You don't need a bias to see that Morgan and Fuentes called this really. Is Morgan is part of the leftist orthodoxy that was spread after the Second World War and has been weaponized against white people, guilty white people, as exemplified when Konstantin Kissin said to a victim of the grooming gangs, when she said that the white people in her area, they don't collectivize, and Kissin said, well, I mean, that's not a solution because you've only got to look at history, which is suggesting that if white people collectivise, they become the Nationalist Social Workers' Party of 1935 Germany, which is so insulting. I mean, all other communities can collectivise without becoming genocidal maniacs, but no, not white people. I mean, what an insult to someone who's been allowed to live in England and is doing very well out of it. I mean, the fact that you can get away with saying that on YouTube. I forgot to put my shirt on. I wear a shirt now down on the street just because I'm, bringing it up.
Trying to be more respectable, not turning people off. Yeah, yeah.
Juror 9156 said, I think the Libertines did that brick thing for their hotel in Margate. Really? Oh, no, man. I've been inspired. I quite like the Libertines, though, while they were there. I'll tell you what, Baby Shambles are the better band, though. Let me know what you think.
Is that Pete Doherty from the early 2000s?
Yeah. Doherty.
See, he was...
Go on.
I was in sixth form at the time of his prominence, and all the girls loved him, and I didn't know who he was. And then I looked into him; he just seemed like some druggie. But was he actually talented? Because I've never listened to any of his music.
Yeah, the Libertines wrote some
amazing
songs.
Kate Moss, wasn't he, at the time?
He was. He did go out of Kate Moss. Yeah, but I mean, Kate Moss would go out of anyone with a bit of clout. I mean, I know. Well, I don't know. I met Kate Moss, and we're not mates.
Russell Brand. Oh dear.
Yeah, let's not get into that. Anyway, thank you, Jurt. That's a good call. I'll have to look into that, and we could rename it the Maison de Libertine. Here we go. Let's have a little look at the Morgan and Fuentes debate.
Look at his face.
You stand by
Absolutely.
that?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So white people should go out of their way to avoid black people when they see them.
Absolutely. They would be wise.
Why?
Because it's a lose-lose proposition. If you're Irina Zarutska and you don't walk the other way, you get stabbed to death and you die. If you're somebody else and you walk on the subway and you stand near a black person or something, maybe it's fine. It's a lose-lose proposition. So no, I think that white people have been beaten into submission, that we're afraid to tell the truth about it. And the truth is that when you go into these major cities like New York or Chicago, I believe she was in North Carolina, there is a
I stopped it at a bad point. Morgan's boat racing.
Menace, which is young, black, adolescent men. They're extremely violent. And we have been told that we have to pretend like they are every other person. We have to be colorblind to that. And we're supposed to go and be in the midst of all this danger. And I think that at this point, it's gotten out of control. You look at the BLM movement, they said that the reason that black people are violent, or the reason there's crime, is because of police brutality, or redlining, or all these other things. They said we need to get rid of the police. We need to defund them. And a lot of cities did. A lot of cities like Chicago, for example, the police changed the rules of engagement. They don't chase them. It's not a felony if you steal a certain amount of merchandise. They won't chase them on foot. And now the city's totally up for grabs. And now whether you're in the Gold Coast or whether you're on the Mag Mile or you're in the worst neighborhoods in the city, you might get shot, you might get mugged, someone might run up on you. And I tell my followers, it is better to be perceived as racist or racist and walk the other way and maybe keep your life than to say, I'm a good anti-racist. I don't mind that this person's making me uncomfortable. Maybe he's looking a little froggy. I'm going to sit down because I'm a good person and get stabbed, mugged, whatever. And by the way, this is a strategy. They call it the stranger, and then they mug.
Sorry, don't know what happened there.
Mug them and hi, yeah, nice to meet you. You know, they grin, they laugh, they put up with the nonsense, and then they get mugged, or worse. Sometimes they get executed. And so
Morgan's gutted that he thought this just some whippersnapper racist was going to come on, but actually very articulately, whether you agree with him or not, made a point. Morgan didn't want that. Morgan wanted him to come across as an idiot. So
yeah,
like the rest of the interview, it's just I'll have to move on from this and try with another gotcha.
Yeah, and by the way, that point that Fuentes made in this exchange is completely true. That's what I think, and that's what I've thought since I was a young man. I mean, I think I've told this story on your stream before. I've told it somewhere. But when I was 19, so a kid really, me and my friend, we went to America for a holiday. We had friends over there, and we went to Los Angeles. And because we didn't have a lot of money, once we'd exhausted our welcome at our friend's place, we had to find a cheap motel to stay in, and it was in a really shitty area. Right now, my friend had all these at the time travelers checks. Do you remember them? Yeah. And we had to find a bank so we could cash them out. So naive little idiots that we're walking around these horrible streets in Los Angeles to find a bank so my friend can cash these checks. And I mean, when I say that the surroundings looked like Training Day, if you've ever seen that film with Denzel Washington, that's what it looked like. And we eventually found a bank. My friend went in there and we went up to the counter. And by the way, I had a camcorder hanging around my neck because I was filming everything because I was on holiday. You know, this idiot. And it was a black cashier, actually, this woman. And she looked at us like we were aliens. And she said, "Did you two walk here?" And we said, "Yeah, we're staying at the motel near the airport," or wherever it was. And she looked at us and said, "You should get a taxi back. You've walked here." And she went on to explain that it was a very dangerous area. And we were the only white people around, by the way. And it was a very dangerous situation. And later that night, we were out in the street and we were looking for somewhere to get some food. And there's a big group of black guys walking towards us on the pavement. And I said to my friend, I said, "Let's cross the road," right? Yeah, so we pressed the lights on the pedestrian crossing, and they were taking forever to change. And one of the black guys shouted at us, "Oh, those lights ain't changing, boys." And you know, they knew and they laughed about it. They weren't going to kill us or anything, but the point remains that Fuentes is speaking from a place of truth there, because I was a naive idiot earlier in that day, and then I was told by someone who had experience that you shouldn't be doing this. You're a moron. So then that informed my decisions later on. And look, being casually racist can save your life. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Well, and I would never apologize for doing that, ever.
The Hodge twins, a couple of black fellas, they reacted to this video and they were saying absolutely. They agreed with pretty much everything Fuentes said. And they were saying, I think it was the Hodge twins, they were saying that the parts of Chicago is like a war. It's like, you know, there's like 30 murders a day or something. It's kept out of the news. It's kept out, you know, it's not happening, you know, and it's just guns and grenades and whatever going off in America. And it's not just Chicago, you know, it's, who was that cartoonist? Dilbert. You know, he had his Dilbert cartoon in about 30 publications. He's made millions over years. And he said, "Look, I've come to the conclusion that we should just not mix with these people. It's too dangerous. Stay away from them." And everyone cancelled him. Everyone he wrote, he's done his Dilbert cartoon for, went, nah. I mean, it's so obvious when you're cancelled for just suggesting something. Well, there used to be a time when you debate things. Morgan doesn't even let that happen here. When Fuentes comes up with an argument, Morgan just sort of moves on and then brings on his Jewish friend to sort of.
He's got nothing. He's got no rebuttal because there isn't one really.
Dan, you've got two options. I really need a wee. I can play the video until I get back, or you can talk.
Why don't we both take a 2-minute break and then we can come back?
There you go, people. It's your chance to super chat, buy me a coffee, buy the novel. See you in a minute. Sorry, people, I made a bad decision there. I should have really let the video carry on playing rather than nothing. But say something. Frozen. Woodland has gone for a pit as well. I did procure some marshmallows while I was gone. You've got to remember it's like 1:30 in the morning here, so I need a little bit of sugar. Hello, Neil. How are you? 2 beers and 1 bottle of red wine, as you were, sir, as you were. We'll let Dan come back. I've got a few more clips, and Paco, I don't even know what that means, but it tickled me. Hello, Dottie. How are you, love? Baz, no, 70%, but then that gets taxed by the UK government. But buy me a coffee, I think they take about 8% or something. But whatever you want to do. Jackson French, hello, mate. My dad got... Okay. Oh, yeah. I just realised what... Yeah. Hello, Dan.
Hello.
Dan, Frank Frankenstein says, Iconoclast, are you ever going to make some more legendary videos? The eternal question, Frank.
Well, yeah, I get asked this every week, but well, I guess it is relevant to what's going on now. I think that old framework of making videos for a channel, I think, is a bit outdated now. What's happening now is all of these people are having conversations and going on podcasts. We really do need to have a podcast genocide. I think there's too many podcasts out there. There's way too many. There needs to be a culling of the herd, I think. But nevertheless, that is where the conversations are happening. I'm not against, and I had this idea last year, treating it like a TV show in a way, but doing them X exclusive. And yes, I do call Twitter X now. I don't call it Twitter anymore. I have changed my vocabulary. It is X.
Yeah,
now.
You should. It's good.
Yeah, and it will happen for everyone. We discussed this a couple of years ago. But I was going to do maybe a 10-episode series on X and just kind of encompass everything that's going on. And maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. Doing regular stuff week to week, following the news isn't really what I'm interested in because I've done this, and plenty of other people are doing it at the same time. Lotus Eaters do it all the time. History Bro's going to do a breakfast show every day. I mean, I can't compete with that. Good luck to him. But
yeah, I mean,
he's going to cover everything. So what am I supposed to do?
When me and you started YouTube, it was a bloke most YouTube channels, even the big ones, was just a bloke in his bedroom with a camera or in his living room Now, the majority of the big channels, it's just like legacy media. They've got a crew, they've got multiple cameras, they've got a full editing team, they've got a big budget where they can buy in big guests. It's like, how are you meant to compete with that? There are some people who can just because they've got they've been going for so long. But they are anomalous, really, to how things tend to be working. Jur comes back with, I played a support slot for Baby Shambles in Leeds in 2005. Best gig I've ever been to was them at Manchester Ritz in 2004. Amazing energy. Yeah, I mean, what are their two excellent songs? Kilimanjaro, Killerman for his gyro, and Fuck Forever. What a couple of incredible pop songs, amazing. Anglo-Saxon is clearly back in work. He's dropped another Ayrton Senna and said, a pleasure to be able to buy you a ribeye. That, because for people who don't know, Anglo used to be a butcher. I'm guessing you've gone back into the butchering game. For 10 English pounds, I can get 3 ribeyes out here. And we're setting up a barbecue in 2 days, so we will have barbecued ribeyes on the balcony.
Interesting. At my local butchers, you can get 2 ribeyes for 10 quid as well, but individually they're 7. So
that ain't bad at all. What pisses off a couple of our Antipodean people who like Dawn Browning and she'll go mad if I forget her name. Well, I call her my darling, so that's fine. Out in Cambodia, it's Australian beef, but it's cheaper in Cambodia than it is in Australia. Even with the refrigeration and the aeroplane and all that, we play less out here. Nice one, Anglo. Nice one. I'm not quite sure how to. Is it Joe R? It's not Jur, is it? That's ridiculous. Well, if it is Joe, it's not ridiculous. I think it's ridiculous me thinking it's Joe R, surely. But thank you, Joe R. Thank you, Anglo. Pizzle says, it's not much, but Happy New Year, Chris. It is much. It is. Lovely. Thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you as well, Pizzle. I've got another little clip I'm going to play. Not a lot of it, but this is Steve Laws. Now, this is why this is interesting, because this is what Dan mentioned as well. It's not just Fuentes, but Steve Laws was on another podcast. Can you remember what it was?
Andrew Gold.
No, the one before that.
Liam something.
It's a single name, isn't it?
Yeah.
But he was on that. So if you don't know Steve Laws, and I guess most of the people in this chat do know, Zeitgeist has dropped $30.99 Aussie dollars in. I'm going to have to catch the rest of this later. Got to do some work. Loving the Geordie vibe. Zeitgeist, sorry, mate. You've sat for an hour and 10 minutes, and just as we're getting into it, you've got to go. Thank you, though, mate. Hoyt to that. Andy's been a member for 59 months. No, you haven't. You've been around these parts much longer than that. Oh, bless you, Zeitgeist. Thank you, Pizzle. Thank you, Anglo. Thank you, Joe R. Hang on, I've got to put that back on. I'll miss anyone who buys a coffee. But if you don't know... hang on. Is it Stuart or Steve Laws?
Steve
Laws, that's right. Christopher Vors has bought a future. I will put that on the screen in a bit. And he says, Dan, are you bringing back your channel? And which I think Dan just answered. And he says, Dangerfield, do we need to buy your book in a brown envelope? I can't remember who was telling me, but they were reading it on the train the other day with their missus. It might have been 42 actually, or Packer. And the missus was like, can you not read that on the train? Because, it weirdly, you might want to put it in a brown paper bag. If you're on the train... It tickled me. I think I mentioned it last time when I'd done my show Sex with Children at the Edinburgh Fringe, which was a sellout show. 2 hours before it started, the crowds were going out the venue, round the block. And most of them didn't get us. There was no seats left, no standing room. And it was about my experiences as a kid getting abused. It wasn't, it's not, it was good marketing, obviously. But when people used to walk out, like within the first 5 minutes or whatever, I had a great line. I always used it. If they walked out, I go, "Don't worry about them. They thought it was a workshop." Anyway, Stuart Laws. Thank you, Zeitgeist.
Steve
Thank
Laws.
you. There you go, Steve Laws. Thank you, Christopher Valls. That will get its screen time that it deserves. Right. Steve Laws is an ethno-nationalist. He is absolutely unapologetic about being racist, about being an ethno-nationalist. He wants total remigration. He wants everyone who's not English out of the country. Now, here's a few things. I'm going to show you a clip. He turns up on Andrew Gold's, whose name was originally Goldstein or Steen, but his family changed it to Gold. Make of that what you will. But I've watched a lot of Heretics, and I quite like Andrew Gold. I think he's a good interviewer. But let me know in the chat, because when I watched the Steve Laws show, which I'm about to show you a clip of, at the beginning, Andrew Gold had like a little preface where he said he sort of framed the discussion. He was it was almost as if he was saying, "Don't let Steve Laws, little bits of truth." These aren't his words, but this is what he was trying to say. Don't let the little bits of truth or your anger or your fear cloud your judgment. The reason I'm having Steve Laws on, Steve, innit?
Steve,
Mr.
yes.
Laws, yes, Steve, last time. The reason I'm having him on is because I think he's dangerous, and I think, these people, sunshine is the real disinfectant and all that. Now, I've watched not all, but a lot of Andrew Gold's heretic shows. I've never seen him do that before. Let me know in the chat if that's a regular or an occasional thing, but I've never seen him do that. Additionally, during the chat, there were live fact checks coming up on the screen.
I noticed that.
I've never seen that on Heretics before. Never seen that on Heretics before. At the end of the video, and I'm going to show you that bit, at the end, not now, I've got a different clip, but at the end of the video, Andrew Gold says to camera, Steve Laws has done the off, he's out in the street, happy-go-lucky. He says, now listen, people like Steve Laws and the ethnats, they're angry, so they're more likely to comment. And my comments are going to look like there's a lot of support for the views of Steve Laws. He says, so if you don't support Steve Laws, make sure you leave a comment so that people can get a real understanding that people don't support him, and because he keeps saying that the most English people really in the privacy of their own homes would agree with him. I've never seen him do that either. And those three things, I'm looking at the chat now, look, Neil, he's never done it. Any of those three things, he's never done any of those. I'm just having a look at the chat to see.
I'm not a regular viewer, so I can't say if he does it regularly or not, but it did seem to be very much, guys, by the way, if you see the conversation going a certain way, don't believe it. They're wrong and we're actually right. It was very containment fueled. stuck out.
What Andrew Gold used as a counter argument, well, I use that phrase loosely, several times, possibly half a dozen. That won't happen. That can't happen. Now, unless he's got a crystal ball, or he's clairvoyant, or he's God, that's not an argument. You can't just say that won't happen. That's not an argument.
Oh, there was so much going on in that interview, and we'll get into it, of course. Before you play the clip, my overall comment on Steve Laws here, because he's been getting a bit of stick online, and I'm going to send you a tweet in the private chat on the stream, Chris, from Tom Slater, who is whoa, some mopeds going by, who is an editor at Spiked Magazine, and Spiked Magazine is the most useless shit rag in the world at this point. It literally means nothing.
What's it? Brendan's had an air transplant, hasn't he?
Has he? I don't know. I haven't seen him for a while, but this popped up, and I'm just going to read it. The link I've sent you. So this is after the interview that Andrew Gold put out with Steve Laws. Tom Slater, he says, solidarity with Andrew Gold, who is being squealed at by pond scum racists for having the balls to platform and challenge one of their own. Ignore the bottom feeders on this platform. The ordinary people of Britain are with you, not this greasy, self-victimizing freak. That's word for word. Tom Slater tweeted that. And to me, look, I'm no psychologist, right? But they sound like the words of a scared man. They really do. I mean, that's the one. That just, I mean, pond scum, greasy, self-victimizing freak. Like, I've never seen these people be so vitriolic towards the left. Never mind people who are on the right. They are. I think they're running scared at this point, and I just found that very telling. And the reaction as a whole from people like Tom Slater, again, they seem like they're a bit scared of where things are going.
It's really. Like the sort of framing that Andrew Gold put at the start and end, and this sort of that won't happen. You can't. How do you know? And I don't think there was one bit where Andrew Gold said to him, "You're not that bright," and I actually agree with Andrew Gold. I don't think Steve Laws is the most intelligent person. But that doesn't matter. He knows what he wants. He's observed the problems and he's letting people know that. And for Andrew Gold to say you're not, I think he says you're not bright enough to understand. I think that's his exact words. I don't want to say for sure, but it's something like that. He definitely says you're not bright enough, but I think I don't know in what context. But anyway,
I would have to see that clip again. But I think that to me just screams, I'm going to appeal to authority here, and I'm going to
he does it all the way through.
It's very much trust the experts type of thing. And again, Steve Laws. I mean, I don't know Steve Laws. I've never spoken to him, to my knowledge. Never had any interaction with him. But he's a working class lad.
Yeah,
and he's got. I think he's got a few kids. He's married with kids, right? So he's got way more skin in the game. Yeah, and look, as someone from a working,
I said no, and you said yes. He's not with anyone at the moment.
Oh, I don't know that. You must have cut out. I didn't hear what you said, but but the point is, he's a working class guy, and I can relate to that. And when people say, "Oh, you're not that bright," I mean. Again, I just have no fucking time for that. Can you remember that story I told you a while ago where that guy was arguing with me in a pub about politics, and he used the fact that he had 3 degrees from a university to kind of trump whatever I said because he's more educated than me. It's like, well, your worldview leads to gang rape and children abuse. Like, you're not that smart, are you? Really? And that's what I get from that. It's like, you're not that smart. You're not bright. Listen to me. I've got a posh accent. I'm well presented. I don't think people buy it anymore.
It's almost like he's using his status to, it's an appeal to his own authority. That the example of the geezer in the boozer, he's appealing to his own authority. No, I've got the letters after my name, so I'm right.
And by the way, and this is ironic, but Andrew Gold is a big fan of Tommy Robinson, and for a decade, that's what they said about him. They said he's just an oik. He's an ill-educated oik. Yep.
And Steve Law says that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. There's a bit where Andrew Gold says people won't support your ideas. They won't. You're not going to get coverage. And Steve Law says, well, they said that about Tommy Robinson 15 years ago. How's that turn out?
Which is absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. So Anglo's dropped another Ayrton Senna. Thank you, mate. Joe R is back after 4 years. Lovely to thank you for pointing that out, Anglo. Thanks for the Ayrton Senna. Sorry, Joe R. I mean, 4 years in Dangerfield years is like 60. So, I've got a lot of names to think about. Hello, Spanish chicken. A chicken. I don't know where that come from. I won't say it again. Right, exactly. Just telling me it won't happen isn't the same as explaining why, is it? It just simply doesn't count. Right, let's have a look at a little bit of Steve Laws and Andrew Gold. But remember the framing, the bit at the beginning, the fact checks during, and the bit at the end. I'll show you the bit at the end. But I just found this little bit interesting. If you don't know, Andrew Gold is Jewish. And Steve Law says to him, "I'd send you home. You're not my people, and I want England for my people." That I'm not saying I necessarily support that. That's not my position on this channel, and I'm just showing the arguments for people to decide for themselves. Yes. But let's have a go. Let me see how I can do this. But even this debate between Andrew Gold and Steve Laws does not get on YouTube 5 years ago. It just wouldn't. It just get yeeted by YouTube straight away. It's very interesting. Okay, people, here we go. No, that's not what you wanted. Let's try this.
I think Jews have contributed quite well to this country.
How would you say so?
Well, I think there's sort of 30% of Nobel Prize winners. So they're pretty good in technology. Einstein, pretty good.
So does that mean that because some of these people have done some great achievements that all of their people can stay here?
Well, I think they've actually been responsible for an overwhelming amount of the number of the achievements.
I would argue that your achievements are irrelevant because our people come first. It doesn't matter, even if our people struggle and we're the worst people in the world, we are still a distinct group of people that deserves our own homeland. Jewish people have, despite the controversy around it, have their own homeland to return to. There is nowhere else for my people to go to. This is our final battleground. You guys have somewhere else to go. We do not.
Is that where you would send me, Israel?
Yeah.
What if Israel didn't want me?
They would take you. You've got Jewish ethnicity.
What if I don't want to go to Israel?
That's not really your choice, unfortunately. But if I'm in a position of power where I can control the immigration situation in the country, it's not a choice for you, unfortunately. You may not like the outcome, but that's what I would do, yes.
And look, I think this has to be a place where people can say what they want to say. I mean, that's the whole point of Heretics. It's the whole point of YouTube. It's the whole point of all of this. Conversations that are not being had on TV. So
interesting that he felt the need to say that there. In my experience of YouTubing, that sort of padding is him actually trying to work out what he's going to say next. That was a nothing. That was just padding.
Fair play to you for saying it. I don't want to go. I don't speak Hebrew. I don't know that culture. I've been there a couple of times to visit over the years, as many not Jewish people have as well. But I never really considered myself anything other than English from a young age.
So if you had to choose between your Jewish ethnic group and the English ethnic group, who would you choose?
I don't believe in caring about ethnic groups. I would just choose England as a country. If we were talking about England versus Israel, I would choose England every time.
So what about if all of the Jews that was in the UK started defending Israel in the UK? Would you condemn them?
Yeah.
So you're in a distinct group. That still doesn't change my opinion that I would remove you from the country. And it's not personal. In my opinion, it's necessary. And no disrespect, but some of your people are very much responsible for the immigration that comes into our country.
Well,
if you look at the organizations, the institutions, the politicians who they're married to, the leaders of these NGOs, etc., they're all Jewish.
Yeah.
And that means that these people.
So can anyone let me know, have these fact checks ever been on? I mean, maybe Andrew Gold's doing it because he wants to keep his channel. You know, this organised institutions that they are married to are not all Jewish. The vast majority of pro-immigration NGOs are not Jewish-led or affiliated. That isn't a fact check, because instantly I can see a fallacy in there. The vast majority of pro-immigration non-governmental organisations are not Jewish-led or affiliated. Okay. What about the most powerful ones? Because you could have 1,000 NGOs that aren't affiliated with one ethnicity, and you could have one that is, and that one is more powerful than all that other 1,000. So that fact check is ideological. It's an attempt to, move you away from what Steve Laws is saying. That's not a fact check. It's sliding a bit of a fallacious argument into the argument that he thought about afterwards.
And I think this quote unquote fact check is supposed to just throw people off. But if we're always told that Jewish people are this very vulnerable minority in the world, right? And they're in terms of numbers, they're a tiny minority in the world. But the point about that is they have vast overrepresentation in very, very important areas. So you would think that exactly what you said, Chris, the vast majority of NGOs are not Jewish-led or affiliated. Even if it was only 3 or 4, that's still a huge amount compared to their numbers and their representation in regular society. So that's the thing that is getting overlooked, and that's more nuanced than that this will allow. But it is very telling that they have to put these things on the screen to try and sway the opinion.
Yeah, it's odd. And like I say, I've never seen them before. I'm trying to get to the last bit where he talks about the comments, but it's for some reason it seems to be off the screen. Let's see if this is it, where he's encouraging people to comment against Steve Laws. Now, again, I'm not on this video. I'm just presenting the information as I saw it on the channel. But it's interesting that I've never seen him do it before. Let's see if I've got it.
Oh, I guess I usually sort of go and say, where can people find your work? But your work is promoting me leaving. They'll find your work anyway.
It's not personal, by the way.
Who's a heretic you admire?
Oh, hang on, this isn't it. Let's see if we can get to it.
What ethnicity actually think?
Hang on.
And I passionate. Watch Liam.
I don't think it's helpful.
Fair enough.
But hang on, whoa. So this is the end of the whole video, right? And then I'll play you the start as well. So you've got the fact checks that I've never seen before. Listen to this.
When I watched Liam's video with Steve.
Yeah, Liam was the other podcast. Liam's channel was the other podcast that Steve was on before.
Liam Tufts, I think the name is. Liam.
That's
Tufts.
it. Yeah,
the bald guy,
absolutely is. Good call.
Most of the comments.
And I've got Liam Tufts talking to Tommy Robinson in a minute as well. But listen to this.
People, I know that when I watched Liam's video with Steve, most of the comments were quite passionately what ethnicity, and I
Ethnicity, what he means to say, but he's deliberately clouding the issue. What's the actual fallacy? Muddying the water. Most of the comments were ethnicity. No, most of the comments were in support of what Steve Laws was saying. That's how you really say it, unless you're trying to muddy the water, but muddy the well or whatever it is.
I think that's because the 1% who do tend to comment are the ones who are the most passionate one way or another. But what I would do is just encourage those of you who are going, hey, this isn't what I want. I want you guys to comment as well, both sides. I want to because I want to see what you guys actually think. And I'm going to do a kind of ChatGPT thing because I want to look at it and go, what do comments actually think on the ethnat versus civnat versus anything else kind of debate. So if you don't usually comment, please do. I want to know what you think. And keep watching this channel, just click this thing here.
I mean,
Are you a racist?
That's incredible. That and he even gives it a little buffer. I just want to put it through ChatGPT to get an understanding of what people really think. No, what he's just done is it's like a call to action. Listen, please, I beg you. So I don't want the comment. And there's over 21,000 comments on Andrew Gold's Heretics with Steve Laws, and you're going to need a fine-tooth comb to find anyone that is in favour of what Andrew Gold's position. Now we'll go back to the beginning of the video. He's got his little
again.
Sorry, Dan, go on.
I was going to say, well, I've got a couple of things to say. We'll get to the beginning of the video in a second because it's very, very telling. But I've seen some people criticising Steve Laws online, saying, "Oh, he looked nervous. His voice was shaking. He was shaking his leg. Whatever." Okay, fine. He's on a relatively big platform that's going to get mainstream attention because these things do now. He's allowed to be a bit nervous. He's allowed to be a bit, I guess, what's the word? A bit blunt. Not what's the word? Kind of not very refined in a way.
Yeah.
And you know what? Fucking who cares? Hats off to him. He's putting himself out there. He's going on these platforms. He's got his face out there. I'm not doing it. I'm not sitting across from Andrew Gold. I don't have my face out there. I've been doxxed for years, but I'm not out there as a person. So I'm not going to criticize Steve Laws for maybe seeming a bit nervous or a bit apprehensive. Whatever. It's about the message. It's about the message, and that's getting out there.
And it's the old classic of one leg going like that. And I've talked about that on this channel before. And I said that I bet at least a third of the people in the chat have got that same tick. It's a classic one. When you're a little bit nervous, your leg goes up and down a little bit. It's quite a common human thing. How Andrew Gold could see his leg going up and down when there's a table in between them, almost like on the ear you can't see, he's probably got a line. I'm serious, because how can you see? How can he see Steve Law's leg?
I did think that as well. Yes, I thought the same thing.
So you're going to get the hook at the beginning. I'll forward through it, but then you're going to get the framing again. And John, why wouldn't he be nervous? He knows that Andrew Gold is more educated, more intelligent. I don't think Steve Laws puts himself forward as like some kind of philosopher. And he frequently says it during the debate. He says, look, it's quite simple. I want England for the English. And if we carry on as we are, that's not going to be the case. And the only way to stop that is mass remigration. And that's really all that's really his only point. And, he doesn't need to say much more than that. Really.
And the fact that that's a problem for so many of these types is incredible. It's a very simple worldview, and it's a worldview that I share. I mean, I think Steve Laws is doing a job for all of us because he's the one going out there and pushing. Some people use the word extreme. I don't use the word extreme. I think it's not extreme at all. I think the extremism has been the policies that have been put on us for the last 50, 60 years by our successive governments. That's extreme.
And we were never asked if we wanted it. We were never asked if we wanted it stopped. We've just been totally ignored in that whole thing. There's one
point in this interview where Andrew Gold says something. I'm paraphrasing. He says something along the lines of, "That's never going to happen. You're living in the past, mate." I think, well,
yeah, he does.
Would you say that about anywhere else? You would not say. And the past, by the way, is what, the 50s?
Yeah.
The post 1945. It's not that long ago. Believe me.
It's not an argument. It's just an insult. It's an insult. It's not an argument. There's another part where Andrew Gold says, eventually the white race will go extinct. He says, we'll all be just kind of, I think he says olive or brown or something. And Steve Laws says, and I don't want that. And so that's why. Anyway, let's have a look at this little framing incident at the start. I'll forward through the nonsense.
That makes me racist. Find out who
You're a topic if you... I think Tommy...
No.
Do me a favour. If you get value...
Right, here we go.
Can you do me a favor? If you get value from these conversations, hit subscribe. I've never done this before, but
There you go. He just said it. I've never done this before. Oh,
Right.
so all of a sudden,
I've taken a leaf out of Elon Musk's book and included several notes throughout this episode to clarify moments that are inaccurate or misleading.
no, that isn't what you've done. The example that we saw, you actually just poisoned the well.
Podcast interviews are a unique and engaging way to bring important societal issues into the public conversation, but they lack real-time fact-checking. That means mistakes can slip through, including...
What, like saying it'll never happen because you can see into the future? I didn't see a fact check there saying at the time of recording, no human has ever been known to be able to see the future, but don't worry about that.
Including some I made here. Like me, many of my viewers are rightly concerned about the state of the country and its lack of direction and identity. My guiding principle, however, remains the same. I judge people on the content of their character, not their immutable characteristics, no matter how tempting it may be.
Well, you did say that Steve Laws wasn't bright enough, which is an immutable characteristic.
So Andrew Gold's basically saying he's Martin Luther King. That's his worldview, right?
Particularly in dark times, to do otherwise. I thought carefully about my own role in platforming Steve Laws because I believe some of his ideas are dangerous. As with many ideologues, much of what he says sounds reasonable, which can make the fallacies underpinning his conclusions difficult to spot in real time.
It's incredibly unfavourable. I wonder if he told Steve Laws, at the start of the interview, I'm going to just slate you and tell people that you're essentially a charlatan and a con man.
Still, this is heretics, and it's my...
Go on, Dan. Sorry, mate.
Well, this I did watch this interview yesterday night in preparation for this again, but I somehow forgot about this little interjection that he's done. He seems like a scared man. He seems like, oh God, if he had the option to not release this, I think he would have taken it. He's thinking, oh God, this is going to go out, but I need to put a caveat at the front. I need to cover all my bases. God, look, and he seems scared. He seems worried about the reaction. And again, why? It's an honest conversation. You're doing things that the mainstream media don't want to do. So come on, it's fine. Go for it.
I'm going to say something that I don't think is going to go down too well with the scrubs, but I quite like Andrew Gold. Yeah, quite like him.
Oh dear.
Because he's platformed some interesting people, such as Steve Laws. And we're talking about it now. And without him doing it, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation with examples. And he's also exposed himself to a large extent. So, it's a weird one, actually. I'm kind of sitting on the fence because although he's doing his best to get a win, much like Piers Morgan, who I don't really like, it has backfired spectacularly. Let's listen to the rest of this little intro, reframing.
I believe that bad ideas don't die in the dark, they die in the light. With that spirit in mind, and knowing that racists will likely be out in force in the comments, I ask that you contribute, even if you don't usually, especially if you don't usually. Comment on this one, because I want to know what you actually think.
No, you want come on, the transparency of evil, really?
I think it's hilarious because he said something like the racists will be out in force, right? And he even starts the interview by asking Steve Laws, "Are you a racist?" Now, is that this guy's supposed to be anti-woke left? He fully well he's hammered this point for years, like all the rest of them, that the word racist doesn't mean anything anymore because it's been used to just smear people that you don't like. I mean, you can be called a racist for saying anything. It's something as tame. Tommy Robinson's a racist. The guy that he supports fully, he's a racist in the mainstream view. So when he says, "Oh, the racists will be out in force," what the fuck are you talking about? And it goes back to that Fuentes thing with Piers Morgan, where he just owns all the labels because none of them matter, and it's redundant now. So you're literally saying nothing. You're appealing to the older demographic, and I'm just going to say the word, the boomers. The boomer mindset is very much focused around, okay, the worldview post 1945. We've got to really adhere to this.
Yeah.
That's what he's appealing to, and that's sadly dying out. You know, I mean, I say sadly. I don't want people to die, but it is dying out, that mindset. So it's it's bottom of the barrel stuff. This, it really is.
Michael Pags is actually, I'd say, right of centre. Andrew Gold. He's definitely not a leftist. For sure. Well, he certainly comes across like that. Right, another video that's really interesting if we take into account what we've just seen. Now, as Dan pointed out, Steve, when Andrew Gold says to Steve Laws, but you haven't, because at one point Steve Laws says, I've got more subscribers than you, and even a fact check comes up and says, Andrew's got more followers than Steve Laws. Right. And it's like, oh, well done.
I'm more popular. My dad's harder than your dad. Oh, yeah, right.
My cousin was in the SAS, all that lot. And he says, yeah, but 10 years ago, everyone said the same about Tom Robinson. Look at him now. And I come across this clip from the Dozen podcast, which I think is the fella, isn't it? You just named him. What is it?
What, Liam? What's his face?
Yeah,
Liam
Tufts. I think it is. Listen to what Tommy Robinson says. I've got it to the right bit, right? I was shocked at this, but this is what I done a stream once where I was talking about Indian music. I love Indian music. I love the tabla.
That's niche.
When they teach young Indian kids to play tabla, they learn to say, there's 2 drums tabla, and there's a certain amount of, they've got a little black spot in the middle of them, and you put your finger half on it, and you'll get the harmony, bing. Whereas if you don't have your finger on the black spot, bong, it's like an octave down. On the bigger drum, you get like a whoop, 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 bing, boop, 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 bing, boop, boop. But each of those different strokes to rule the world, yes it does. Hey, Mr. Drummond, what are you talking about, Willis? Anyway, when they teach the young Indian kids how to play tabla, they learn to speak it before they ever get near a pair of drums. So it's like, I can still do it with my fingers. Da tera kita taka din na tera kata na da tera kata din na tera kata din granda katinda. And I also said I like Indonesian music. I love the gamelan. It's the Indonesian orchestra, you could say. I love the sound of it. And I got a lot of pushback in the comments. And I'm saying, listen, as nationalists, you should support that. You might not like the music. I'm not asking you to like the music, but you should support that because that's nationalism. That's India having its own national traditions, its own culture. That's Indonesia having its own traditions, its own culture. And the not supporting of traditional and classic and folk music from India is how hip hop takes over and how R&B takes over.
God forbid.
We should understand that for all nations. You know, that's actual diversity, where you can go to another country and you can go into a cafe and not listen to fucking Mary Blige or Lil Kim. You actually get to the nation.
P. Diddy.
You see my point? When I saw Mary J. Blige, I thought, hang on, is that like 30 years old? I don't know. I'm glad I pulled Lil Kim on the bag. I mean, that's probably within the last decade at least. But listen to what Tommy Robinson says here.
Chris, wait. I'm sorry. I need to go and have a slash. It's gone right through me again.
Slash on. I'll do
some housekeeping. I'll be 2 minutes. Sorry.
All right. Not a problem. We're old. Weeing is needed. Right, hang on. We've got a couple more over on the Buy Me a Coffee. Oh my God. Do that. I go over here. I do that. I do that. I do that. I do that, I do that, and I do that. And I come back here. Surely there's an easier way of doing this. I shouldn't have to press 20 buttons to do this. See, in a year's time, AI, I'll be able to go put the Paint Shop Pro screen up and it'll do it. And that'll be a lot better than all that. Anyway, thank you very much for buying me 5 futures over on Buy Me a Coffee. HB Kludvig says, your Dutch OG scrub friend, hoit to that. Have a fantastic 2026, you and your lady. Will do, HB, will do, a Prasha Kanatu. And Christopher Vals, Vase or Vals, I bet it's none of those, is it? You're at home going, no. Bought me 1 future, and I already asked that. And yeah, I think a brown envelope, for reading it in public, probably, yeah. Like a bottle of Buckfast Abbey, what do they call that? Tonic wine. They like it up in Scotland. Thank you very much for the Buy Me a Coffee donations. Let me see if I've missed any super shars. I have missed one. I've missed one from Dottie. Dottie says, here's to happier days, Chris, for you and your lady. Thank you very much. It's going quite well. The novels overwhelmed me. It's been very successful. And so, yeah, I'm getting on with the next one. I've still got the magnum opus, the big 800-page one that I've been writing for 10 years, but I need to build an audience up with these slightly more accessible novels. Because if I were to publish that tomorrow, you know, it just it's a tricky. It takes a lot of work to read it, but there you go. I missed that one. I didn't miss Anglo's one.
I'm back, by the way.
Thank you, Anglo. I missed another one from Anglo. I reckon Steve Laws held his own, Chris. Yeah, I reckon he won the debate because he wasn't being sneaky and fallacious. He essentially just kept repeating his point. I want England for the English, much as I think all nations should be for the ethnic natives. And the only way I can see it happening is remigration.
It's authentic. It's authenticity, and that shines through. I think.
And all Andrew Gold had to come back was it won't happen, and it's like you can't. Okay, all right, guesser.
but why not? And he didn't explain why not.
Yeah, he couldn't. Vincent has been a member for 36 months. No, you haven't, Vincent. You've been on the manor for far longer than that. Thank you, everyone, for your kind donations. It really makes a difference. This is half of my full-time job now. At least we'll have some steaks at the weekend. Oh, that's now, isn't it? That's tomorrow. Oh, great. So, this is Tommy Robinson on the Dozen podcast. I keep forgetting his name, Dan. Help us out.
Liam Tufts.
Liam Tufts. Right.
Yeah.
This is quite interesting.
I'd just call him Tuffy because you see his avatar and he's got that face like he's a hard man. Tuffy. That's Tuffy, isn't it?
Well, he does Tuffy. Look like quite an hard bastard. I can't give him that. Right, here we go. Again, 20 buttons. Dan, I was just saying while you're on the lash, I have to press about 20 buttons to share a screen. And in about a year, I'll be able to just say, share my other monitor.
Well, let's not go down that rabbit hole because we can go on for hours about that.
Well, here we go. Tommy Robinson surprised the hell out of me here. So this is the same podcast that first platformed Steve Laws, and Tommy Robinson's on it. Check this out.
And what do you think about the rise of ethno-nationalists, certainly on the internet? Because I've had one set opposite me. We didn't agree on.
He's talking about, when he says I've had one sitting opposite me, he's talking about Steve Laws.
Oh, okay.
Nationalists, certainly on the internet, because I've had one set opposite me. We didn't agree on everything. There were certain things I thought, okay, you got a good case there, but I think our culture is superior, but race is. I'm blind to race.
No, I'm blind to race. They're right.
Fuck off.
And that
sorry, sorry, pause it. Sorry. Sorry.
That has to be vocalized.
It's an odd thing to say. I'm blind. I think our culture is superior, but I'm blind to race. I mean,
I feel like I'm in 2015 again. Our culture is superior, but I'm blind to race. Where does culture come from? Can you just join the dots for me, please, Liam?
it's an enigma wrapped in a mystery, isn't it?
And I don't have to say anymore. I don't have to say anything else. It's so old hat, this shit.
Well, I was very surprised with Tommy's reply to this. People, if you keep hearing this, I don't know if you actually hear it, but that's me putting my fan on. If it's suddenly going, it's because it is gone 2 in the morning here, but it's still 30 odd degrees. But I can't have the fan on all the time because it blows my green screen over. So I just keep turning it on and off with my foot. But I've taken it back a bit so that we can get it from the start. I was very surprised by what Tommy Robinson says in reply to this.
And sat opposite me. We didn't agree on everything. There were certain things I thought, okay, you got a good case there, but I think our culture is superior, but race is. I'm blind to race.
No, I'm blind to race, but they're right in lots of what they say, and that can.
So from the offset, Tommy Robinson says that ethno-nationalists, and again, I'm just repeating what's being said. I'm not waving a flag for either side here. This is a video just showing what's going on with the Overton window on YouTube at the moment. But Tommy Robinson says a lot of what they say is right, and this is the bit that blew my mind.
Cannot be denied. So that has to be vocalised in the sense that white English cannot become a minority in England. It should not be allowed to happen. It's not right if it happens. So we can be blind to race, but that shouldn't happen. Why shouldn't it happen? Because black Nigerians should not become a minority in Nigeria. The Japanese should not become a minority in Japan. The Chinese should not become a minority in China. So for us to say that, if that's allowed to happen, like it has in London, what does London look like now? It's 33% English. Doesn't look like London. It doesn't represent London. The culture's changed. Has it changed for positive or negative? Negative. Has violence gone up? Yes, it has. It's broke down community. It's broke down society. It's replaced it with ghetto culture. It's wrong. So that's not racist. So I shared a video recently.
There you go. I was rather surprised by that. What do you make of that, Dan?
I feel like there's a big caveat coming up somewhere along this monologue. I haven't seen this interview, by the way.
Well, you'll have to watch it yourselves, people, because that's the only clip that I had of it.
All right, fine. But
because otherwise we'll get into a debate about Tommy Robinson, and this is actually more about laws for Fuentes and Generation Z, and I've got another clip in a minute.
And that's a deep conversation rabbit hole as well. But I mean, Robinson even said, yeah, I'm blind to race too, but... And then he listed why he's not blind to race.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you really... I mean, what were you talking about? To me, this just stinks of people who are trying to keep up with the conversation, who are trying not to become left behind. And I'm going to say it's
interesting.
I'm going to be... I think it's a bit cynical,
isn't it?
No, I think it's... I do think that these people are, at the end of the day, thinking about their financial bottom lines. I do think that. And I think they can... Look, Tommy Robinson, as much as I have issues with what he's done, I do respect what he did in the past. I mean, I will never... There are people who absolutely detest him and say, oh, he's a this and that. I always say, look, back in the early 2010s, it was him and a few ragtag lads who were exposing the grooming gangs. And he did that. And he got a world of shit. And maybe along the way, he made some deals with some people, who knows? But I think now that it is a business, this anti-woke, this pro-England, let's reclaim the country thing has become an industry of itself.
All right, but let me put
and these people are making a lot of money doing it. And look,
all right, can I just put this? I'm gonna say something to you about that, to question that. So you're suggesting that perhaps Tommy Robinson is trying to keep up with the Overton window, the changes to maintain his grift in those circles. Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, the word grift is charged. I would say that Tommy
All right.
Robinson
His
has certain
income.
interests in his life that pay his bills. That he can't just let this go.
The geezer's done a couple of years in solitary confinement.
I know that, and I'm not saying that he's wrong for doing that. I'm not saying that was fake or anything. I
just suggest there's easier ways to make money than go through the hell on earth. Sit in a room on your own for 3 hours doing nothing with no entertainment. 3 hours.
But I think the criminal things against him are very different to the public political commentator.
But he knew that when he came back to the UK, he was getting thrown in prison, and he chose to come back.
Why was he thrown? There was something, I don't know the full story.
Because he was told to not show that film he made about that kid. That there was a video came out of a white kid beating up an immigrant kid, a Syrian kid, and there was a lot of GoFundMe for the Syrian kid. Oh, look at the horrible white kid beating him up. And he got like hundreds of thousands of pounds. And it turns out all the tutors at the school and all the staff were like, the white kid was like a model pupil. It was his sister that the Syrian kid had been picking on. Everyone said the Syrian kid was just an absolute arsehole. And he was told not to show that film. People in the chat might be able to add some more detail to that, but I just think there's easier ways of making money than spending 8-9 months in solitary. Fuck that.
Well, look, I'm not going to pretend to know about the intricate details of his criminal cases. I haven't looked into it enough. But what I'm saying is that he, whatever he does in that realm, I think he is part of this. Like Liam Tufts, like Andrew Gold, he is part of this crowd that will go only a certain amount of the way, and then will try and stop discussion from progressing, and that's the problem there.
I agree with you to an extent, but I think it's similar to me like Reform. I've got no time for Nigel Farage. Reform.
You don't like him?
No. And even Trump, but they are necessary small steps to get where is required. And I think Tommy Robinson has done more good than bad in terms of bringing certain ideas to the general public.
No, I'm on your page there. So my parents, for example, are in their 60s, and 10 years ago, they were never liberals. Like my mom voted for Blair in '97 and regretted it immediately, right? But they were never where we are.
Like the rest of the country.
Like the rest of the country, right? But he won 3 elections, so hats off to him. What a genius! But she was 10 years ago when Trump was running. She really didn't like him. She thought, "My God, this guy is he's brash, he's rude, he's this and that." Now she is fully on board the Trump train. She loves him. And similar with Tommy Robinson. 10 years ago, she thought he was a thug who was a football hooligan or whatever. Now she regularly watches his stuff on YouTube. My dad as well. And I think that where they are now from where they were, that is going to be the case for ethno-nationalist talking points in the next 10 years. And I think these people who have hitched their wagon to, it's not race, it's culture. It's about watching Match of the Day and drinking tea rather than where you're from. I think they have to, they're facing a reckoning. They have to really change what they say, or they're going to be left behind. And I think that's a very worrying thing for them in the immediate future. And I think that's what most of this is about, really.
It's interesting to say that I'm blind to race, and then in the next breath say London doesn't look like London. Well, the buildings still
right.
do.
So what exactly. About? What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, right. Now, this is YouTube, cut me some slack. This is historically relevant to the conversation. You've platformed many videos of Fuentes. This clip is from YouTube. I'm not showing this in any way to glamorize. I'm showing this to make a point. So contact me if you want me to take it down, please. But I'm trying to do something that is necessary regarding this debate, because Nick Fuentes or Morgan's it's ridiculous, isn't it, Dan? But it's also necessary. Nick Fuentes said that he thought the Austrian painter was cool, and Morgan, who is a boomer, who grew up in the post-war leftist orthodoxy, where white people have been banged over the head for 80 years now from it, which is what gives Konstantin Kissin the right, the not moral right, but cultural right to say, well, we can't have white people collectivizing because, remember history.
How terrible.
And Morgan then says to Fuentes, he says, he goes, what do you mean he's cool? You think genocide's cool? And he says, look, Fuentes says, let's just get this off the table. No, I don't think, I'm not into genocide. I'm not into killing people, all right? He says, but the Austrian painter is cool. And Morgan says, well, what do you mean? And he says, well, the edits. Remember that word, the edits, the costumes. Let's not remember Hugo Boss designed the costumes for the National Socialist Workers' Party of Germany.
They were sharp as hell, weren't they?
Right. Okay. Etc. Etc. Now, this has been colorized by AI. Adolf was friends with a very famous German dancer, actress, photographer, and filmmaker called Leni Riefenstahl, right? And he liked her films. And he said to her, make a film about the National Socialist Workers' Party. And it's shown in film school. I see it at 2 art colleges out of the 4 I went to. It's considered one of the best pieces of political propaganda ever made. It's called The Triumph of Will. Is that what it's called?
Yes.
No, Triumph, I'm confusing it with Nietzsche. Triumph of the Will, Leni Riefenstahl, right? Now, what they tell you at art school is this was meant to look like, it's just, just a couple of rallies and we took some cameras, whereas actually it was all absolutely, composed, curated. It's a film made. I mean, Adolf literally comes out of the clouds at the beginning. I'm not going to show you that bit, but he's in a plane. But the symbolism is there. He comes out of the clouds. Now you've got to remember, this is post World War I. Germany are humiliated. Their country is in ruins, and this man comes out of the clouds, and he's got a youth faction. He's got a faction that don't carry guns; they carry spades. Because they're going to go and dig and they're going to go and grow and they're going to build. And Leni Riefenstahl made this most incredible video. And even the clip that I'm going to show you, it's the full video. It's got so much caveats to it. I'll read it to you. Where is it? Well, he says it at the beginning. I don't want to bore you with that bit, but it's like, this is, it's important that we show you this to understand, blah, 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 blah. But similar movies were made about the English military. All militaries during wartime make propaganda. There was a time, I mean, Scrubs will know this story like the back of their hand, but there was a time when there was an Allied bomber that had more filmmaking equipment in it than it did ammunition and bombs, because they realised there's not, you know, while bombing somewhere is useful in a war, if you get it on film, it's even more useful. And if you were to see videos of English troops, you know, look at the British Army or the Navy or the RAF and all the parades they do, all marching, all perfect marching, their front of their boots, like you can see your face in them. That's not accident. That's not done by accident. It's done to make them look cool. Look at the sergeants. Look at the captains with all their stars and all their medals. You know, that's why they've got dress uniforms. They don't only have combat uniforms. I thought these people were fighters, but they have dress uniforms to look cool. That's why they have those big peaked caps. That's why they have different ranks, and the different ranks have got more, you know, the epaulets and all the little stars for your generals and your captains. You know, this isn't something exclusive to the National Socialist Workers' Party. This is something that national militaries do. The thing that pissed them off is that Leni Riefenstahl done it better. Hugo Boss done it better. And that it's not a fact, it's subjective. But when you look at like military propaganda, I mean, look, let's remember, like, 5 years ago, and there was a load of YouTube videos comparing military propaganda videos, and you'd have the British one where, like, they were flying rainbow flags, and there were like Muslims praying, and the rest of the unit stopped fighting so that they could, you know, pray, and there was like big fat women in it, and everyone was like, holy fuck. Fuck me. And then they'd show you the Chinese one or the Ukraine or the Russian one, and it'd be like and like blokes parascending out of helicopters like Veckler and Cox and balaclavas and like when the European, I think when the joint European forces brought out, was it the Typhoon? I think it was the slang name was the Eurofighter. There's plenty of propaganda videos of that on YouTube that were paid for by the British taxpayer, showing the Eurofighter flying around, its afterburners doing its bit, its wings moving, you know, and it would halfway through it would sort of turn into like pixelated green grids, you know, as if, you know, like the Bionic Man. We have the technology to build the world's first, most destructive jet fighter. It's military propaganda, and it's cool. I used to watch those videos and think, fuck me, that's one fucking aeroplane, man. So when Fuentes says that the Austrian painter's cool, if you say he isn't, and when the edits, the outfits, no mention of anything political, appearances, and because Generation Z hasn't grown up with the post Second World War orthodoxy, they're quite happy to say it looks cool because they're being honest. And if you're going to say, well, it's not cool, that's not cool. Leni Riefenstahl's video isn't cool. Well, at the same time, then you're going to have to say that Eurofighter video isn't cool. You're going to have to say that those British military, like, and the Navy, when the camera zooms down over the aircraft carrier while they're all marching on it, and a fucking Harrier. I remember during the Falklands, Harriers doing their vertical takeoffs. That's also not cool then, because it's military and militaries kill people. The Allies dropped 2 atomic weapons on civilian targets in Japan, killing millions, and people are still suffering today from that. So unless you're going to maintain the same standards for both militaries, you're in a losing position. And so we're now going to watch a bit of the original footage, colorized. It's very small, and I can't make it any bigger. I wonder why they've done that. Anyway,
what you're saying is very true, because even if you take it to pop culture, for example, and you watch the original Star Wars films, Darth Vader is very fucking cool. The Empire is very fucking cool. You know, Luke Skywalker is a stupid bitch farm boy. Yes, he's the hero, but Darth Vader is like, oh, that's what I want to watch these films for. Like, I love Darth Vader. And that's a similar thing. I mean, it's just presentation.
Exactly. And yeah, so yeah. So do you like Star Wars, Piers Morgan? Yeah. Do you love it when those X-Wing fighters are like, Red Leader 1, they're coming in too fast. And the Millennium Falcon, yeah, they're all killing machines. You understand that? They're killing machines. When they went down that bit and dropped those bombs into the Death Star, they killed millions of people. But if you separate it from that, so I'm risking my channel here, but I think it's fair to show it.
I think you've done
Good
well.
Lord. So here we go. Let's have a little watch of a bit of this.
Mein Führer, ich melde 52.000 Arbeitsmänner zum Appell angetreten.
So the rad men, you see what they're holding? They're not flags or posters, they're shovels. That's Leni Riefenstahl saying the rebuilding of Germany. This is the rebuilding. Look at what he says. Hail men of the Labour Service.
The working people.
Yeah.
Warten! Immer! Warten!
Like weapons. Right, I'm going to, look, to carry Germany into a new era. Remember, they've just come out of the First World War and have been absolutely humiliated for it.
They had to wheel around wheelbarrows full of cash to buy a loaf of bread.
That's it. My old man's classic story was a German woman goes into a baker's and finds a basket full of Deutschmarks and throws the Deutschmarks out and runs off with the basket.
Yeah.
Anyone with a knowledge of classical music will know that it's not composed by Wagner, but Wagner, the Austrian painter, loved Wagner. I think the composer is a bloke called Veit or something like that. But if you know your Wagner, this is very Wagnerian soundtrack as well. So there you go. I think that's probably as much as I can get away with. But if you are, where are we?
Nowhere. There we are.
Oh, excuse me. If you're 17 or 18 and you haven't got that whole Second World War thing going on in your head, and you see something like that, you can't deny it. And if you are going to deny that the edits, the uniforms, the perfect marching, and it's like a 30-odd minute documentary or 30-odd minute movie. you've got to say that for all militaries. I remember in the early 80s, and I think a lot of people watching this around my age will, in the early 80s, before perestroika, which I think means openness, or glasnost means openness, one of the two does, and that was Gorbachev who brought in that perestroika and glasnost, openness. We're going to be less secretive, and we're going to, the old Soviet Union, the remnants of the Soviet Union are going to try and engage with the world in a better way. That was Reagan and Gorbachev. After the Cold War got to the point where leaflets were being put through people's doors saying, lean your doors up against the wall, literally take some peanut butter and jam in. Oh, Mum, can I have some peanut butter?
No.
The wind just blew your skin off. So in the early 80s, you'd have all those the sort of top Soviet diplomats and military people standing in front of the Kremlin with their military marching by, thousands and thousands of Soviet troops, like absolutely like machines. There was not one hair out of place. And then along come the nuclear weapons on trucks. With the communist star painted on them. Do you remember those, Dan? Are you old enough to remember those?
Of course, yeah. I've seen. Well, of course, I've seen lots of clips.
And they were showing
the North Koreans do it as well. I made an alternative intro to my channel back in the day that featured heavily the North Korean military parades. And if you want to talk about synchronization, my God, they are the best at that. Yeah. Every single movement is in sync. Every single one. Very cool.
Yeah,
and that doesn't mean I support North Korean dictatorship, but they did it well.
Exactly the point that Nick Fuentes was trying to make, and Morgan just couldn't get his head around it. Vincent, hang on. I've done that one, Anglo. Thanks for that. The real Vincent Griffin, member 36 months. She's been here longer than that. Picard. The world is not ready for Taiwan, my part in its downfall yet. That's my magnum opus. Is that what you're suggesting? Thank you, Picard. Anglo's dropped another donation. A Lady Godiva, Hugo Bosland. They look great. And that's what Fuentes was saying. And it's not even controversial. And you can't even say they're not. You can. Morgan could have said, no, they don't look good. And then if Morgan said that to me, I'd say, all right, that's your subjective, you don't like that look. I don't like your blazer. It's just subjective. It's a question of aesthetics. This isn't a question of politics. This isn't a question of genocide. You don't just dislike a uniform because of what you may or may not think that they got up to during the war. That's ridiculous. That's like there being a beautiful painting and you go, oh, that painting's it's just beautiful. Turns out the bloke who painted it murdered someone. Oh, it's not beautiful anymore though. What?
Right.
Hang on, it's the same painting. It's exactly the same painting. Good call, Anglo. Picard drops another 2 in. Sydney Sweeney has good skull and bones. She wears those jeans very well. She does wear her jeans well.
Do you know Sydney Sweeney, right? So people have misunderstood her. So the critical drinker and that crowd.
I haven't.
No, me neither, by the way. I think she's great. And but the critics of Sydney Sweeney are saying, oh yeah, but look at her face. She's like a 4 out of 10 in the face. Like, no, it's not about that. It's about the attitude. The aura you give off. She's a sexy woman. You can
a 4 out of 10. What ridiculous thing!
Well, they say, she's got bags under her eyes or something like that, and I think no, you're talking shit. So like they say Margot Robbie, for example, is a beautiful woman, and yes, she is, but Sydney Sweeney is a sexy woman, and there's a difference between that. And I know what I prefer.
I know the difference you're making,
and men understand this.
Yeah, I know exactly. Yeah. Sweeney is more attractive Robbie, when she does the scene in The Wolf of Wall Street where she knows he's watching her on the
Sure, but
CCTV.
she's a bit too perfect, you know.
Yeah. How do I get rid of Katie bloody Price advert?
Oh bloody hell.
I mean, come on. What? She's a 4 out of 10. Good
Well,
Lord.
these are the critics of her because they're offended that she did that Gene advert, and they said, "Oh, she's a Nazi," so they're trying to pick her apart.
She's just gone up to an 8 out of 10 to me. But no, why that's I haven't heard anyone say that. But I'll trust you. But she's a beautiful woman. What a ridiculous thing to say.
Well, I would say she's a sexy woman, and Margot Robbie's a beautiful woman. I think there's a difference, and I know what I prefer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think it's just a question of taste, isn't it? What if you fancy someone, you fancy him?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Anglo says he's been goose stepping around his front room. Thanks, that's really helping. Let me just check the old buy me a coffee. Hang on. Oh, good Lord. Yeah, I've got one over there. Now, I am out of videos, but Dan, I think it's time that we sort of, got
You want to wrap it up?
Well, yeah, but not sort of quickly. And I want the chat to get involved in this as well.
But I do have something for you though.
All right. Well, 1 second there.
All right.
Let me get this super chat because often he's written a lot, and often they're sort of contextual with what we're saying. So it's a bit unfair to leave it for ages. So Sam S bought a future. Hey Chris and Dan, one of my New Year's resolution is to start super chatting when I can for people in our circles to show my support. So I'm beginning here with this stream, as I've always enjoyed the Three Stooges, one of my favourites. Best wishes for 2026 to yourself, Dan, and the chat. Keep up the great work and Happy New Year to all of you from a Dorset lad. P.S. A good amount of us are sick of Billy Bragg too, and his virtue signalling after moving here. Yeah, he lives in that massive, fully, what do you call it? You got a terrace, a fully detached sort of mansion with loads of land around it and like a 2-second walk to the cliffs. He doesn't have to deal with the ideas he supports. What is it, like 99% white down there?
Billy Bragg, is he that shit lefty singer?
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not looking for a New England. I'm looking for another. I do quite like that song, though.
Well, if he wants a New England, we can deport him to somewhere else, the fucking idiot. Deport him to the sea.
I remember back in 2017-18 when we used to say things that would go our way in the end after enough people wake up. But I can't lie, it's a bit surreal to see the change actually happen in real time. Glad it is, though. It's desperately needed. All the best. Now, Sam, you couldn't have timed that better. Nice one for the support. It was wild. I don't know how long you've been watching this sort of content, Sam, but just sort of 6-7 years ago, people who got donations on the dissident right just got donations were called grifters, just because you got donations. I rubbed it in their faces for about 6 months. All my streams were called Dangerfield's Dollar Drive. But you don't see the left doing that. You don't see the left complaining about people supporting people who are trying to, have conversations that need to be had. I want you to respond really to that, Dan. Is Rupert Lowe, right? Rupert Lowe today on Twitter posted a massive tweet. He said all the things that we need to happen. And he says we're running out of time. He says, we've got about 6, I think, I don't want to misquote, but he says something like we've got about 6 or 7 years left to get in place certain things, remigration being one of them, certainly all the illegals, certainly all the criminals. You know, if you're a guest in this country, you break the law, we shouldn't pay taxes to keep you in a way that would be better than what your own country is. No, you're on a plane and you're sent home. That's it. You break the laws, you go home. The Overton window, I think you can't really argue that hasn't shifted a hell of a lot to the right. Is England going to survive this? Are we going to become a minority? Chat, I want you to join in with this as well. Is England a white British Anglo, another donation? Steady on, mate. I mean, I reckon I could pull Sydney Sweeney. That's the approach. That's it. Me too. I reckon I could. I honestly reckon I could. Yeah, that is how you do it. Because if Dan, I do though. I do. Dan, I've never not pulled a bird I've tried to pull ever.
I'll tell you something, right?
Not because I'm particularly attractive, but because I'm honest, and it always.
No. I agree. So when I was younger, I think I was 24 or 25, and that's when Tinder first came out. And I don't know if you've ever been on Tinder, Chris. You might be a bit older for that. But when it first came out, it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It really was. And I would just go on there and talk shit, and girls would like it. And these are girls that you would never meet in real life because you're never in the same place. So when you chat to them...
Who gets called the degenerate around here? Me?
Yeah.
Or shooting fish in a barrel down on Tinder?
Well, you talk absolute fucking, you talk absolute nonsense. You talk shit, and they love it. I don't know. It's weird. This guy's honest. Yeah.
Yeah. They what they don't want is someone rocking up to them in the boozer and going, I'm in accounting. I just thought maybe you'd like a drink. No, just go up and go, I'll buy you a drink. I do want to have sex with you. I'll just put that out there. But after the drink, you can decide.
But back then, it was like, if you're on Tinder, you're saying, look, I want to bang you, but I don't think you should have the vote. And they're like, oh, yes, thank you. They loved it.
That's an amazingly weird angle. I'm trying to work the psychology out of it. I want to have sex with you, but I don't think you should vote.
Yeah. It's like, I think so little of you. You don't deserve. Yeah, but yeah.
Arklow drops a 10-bit. He says a cheeky Ayrton in celebration of Dan's alley-like return to the ring. Amazing. Even though he degenerated himself. Nice one, Arklow. And we had a good chat over on Buy Me a Coffee. I appreciated those. Sorry to hear about your bad news. I mean, that's an understatement, but this is public. So thank you for that, Arklow. I hope you're
Muhammad Ali. Is that what he's referring to?
Yeah. You've got back in here.
Have you seen his... was he on Michael Parkinson? He was on a chat show. And it's very famous. He said, he basically promoted the ethno-nationalist position, but from a black guy's perspective. And Parkinson was saying, that's a horrendous thing to say. And Ali was thinking, no, I want my children to look like me. Is that a bad thing? Why is that such a bad thing? And even back then...
Sorry, go on.
No, even back then in the 70s, Parkinson, this establishment figure, was trying to, squash that.
Yeah. It's interesting that you say he was supporting an ethno-nationalist position, but from his people. That such a thing doesn't exist. If you're an ethno-nationalist, you're an ethno-nationalist.
Yeah.
Obviously you're going to be talking about your group. Nice one, Arklow. And Shay71 Shay says, it's been a long time. I should have left you without a strong rhyme to step to. Time's up. Sorry I kept you. I'd never know the fourth line. Been a long time, Chris and Dan. Happy New Year. Ethno-Nats on the rise. Seems that we've returned back to 2015 and the King Groiper, Nick, has like cream risen. Oh, I like that. I like the phrasing at the end there. I like that. I think
The cream has risen. Wow, that's good.
I think you've employed the passive verb there. Let me. I won't go into that. That would be very dry. But thank you, Shay71 Shay.
By the way,
Amazing,
Chris, I need
yes.
again. I'm so sorry, everyone. I need to take another slash, but I do have
Well,
a video lined up.
Interestingly, Anglo has dropped another donation and says, "Come back more often, Dan. So go and have your piss and come back." And
I will, but before I do, I just want to say I've got a private chat link lined up for Chris,
okay.
And it revolves around Hope Not hates Nick Laws. Everyone knows him, right?
Yeah, horrible piece of work.
He's a piece of shit. And I will send it when I'm back, and we'll finish on that because it's very funny. Okay, see you soon.
All right, good call. Ta-da. Thank you, Anglo. Trust me, I always try and get Dan on. He gets sick of it, and then in the end, if I leave him alone for long enough, he asks me, like this time, "Want to do a stream soon?" I'm like, "Yep, name a day, I'll do it. I'll be available." Thank you, Anglo. I wonder if there's enough time left. That's the question I ask. Because the nation has been so demoralized, so guilted, so ashamed, so shamed, sorry. Even if the people believe it and want it, are they prepared to talk about it? Jobs will be lost, relationships and families will be broken up. Because of the lag, so to speak. Our capital city is something like 33% native white now. Our capital. I think Gavin Bobby said there's something like 100 mosques being built in England every year. They're building one in the Lake District. And Gavin Bobby says that a mosque is a castle. And all the houses and essentially the village or town around that mosque, everyone sells up and leaves. Gavin Bobby said people literally turn up on the doorsteps of people's houses, knock on the door with a bag full of cash and offer half the price of the property. And when they go, "Oh, no, I've lived here all my life, I'm not moving," they sort of say, "Well, we'll see about that." And then, a couple of months later, you can't move for traffic because that's how Gavin Bobby stops most of the mosques being built. It's based on traffic. He's I think he's a barrister. I'm not sure. I never know what the difference between a lawyer or a barrister is. But his way of stopping them building them is to say the area can't handle the traffic. And he does stop a lot of them getting built. But that is essentially a castle. And then when they don't sell the house, that's when the windows start getting smashed. These aren't my ideas. This is what legal Gavin Bobby, check him out on YouTube, says happened. Then you start getting things put through your letterbox. And there's another cunning thing they do, because if they get turned down for a mosque, they then have a bookshop, which becomes a prayer room, then they buy the building next to it, which becomes a slightly bigger prayer room. And over time, as the demographics change, it becomes a mosque. And the mosque is like putting a castle in the town. And slowly that's the start of that town being taken over. So I think the question I'm going to ask you, Dan, is regardless of the over and window, and let's assume that the required majority of people and a political party to start implementing measures required to maintain ethnic whites as a supermajority in their native homeland. Are we too late? Do you think? I know it's conjecture at this stage,
right?
Do you think England can be saved from that, or are we now condemned to multicultural island.
No, I think it can be reversed. I do think that. I think where there's a will, there's a way. And without giving too much away, I've been contacted by a few people who are active in certain political parties, and they want to meet up with me and talk about things. And even though the official line of those parties are very safe and normie-like reform, the people in the parties themselves, underneath, they're very much trying to push this narrative and this this mission. And I think, look, it depends. I think that you can just do things. When you see the Conservatives and the Labour Party and all these idiots say, we can't do anything unless we leave the European Court of Human Rights. That's what's holding us back. We can't do anything. That's bollocks. You can do whatever you want. This is fucking nonsense. And, El Salvador, for example, which is something that you and I talked about a few months ago, they had a huge violent crime problem and they fixed it. How did they fix it?
It was one of the most dangerous places in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's now the safest place in the Northern Hemisphere. They gave the military and the police the resources and the what is it when you're allowed to do it? To go and round up all the gangs, and they put them all in their super prisons. They got like 70,000 people in one of those prisons, and they're never getting out. You leave there in a box. Right. And the people of El Salvador are loving it. I saw an interview with this old lady. She said, I haven't left my house to go to the shop after dark in 20 years. And she said, now me and my friends go out walking in the evening. That's the difference.
Yeah, so what happened there was people were fed up. Some guy came into office and he used the power that was assigned to him to do something. It really is that simple. And if you look at let's go back to Andrew Gould's interview with Steve Laws. He's saying you can't deport all these people. Yeah, that's so ridiculous. It's not going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Well, there's examples of mass deportations all around the world in certain countries. Pakistan just deported millions of Afghanis, for example. And there's other examples around the world. You can do it. If you have the will and you're in power, you can do it. Don't ever... The big thing is like, you can't do anything. You're helpless. Just accept whatever comes to you. No, if you're in that seat, you can do it. You can just do things. #.
Thank you, Anglo. Bobby is a good lad. People, if you don't know Gavin Bobby's channel, The Mosque Buster, it's spelled Bobby. Go and check it out. Thank you, Anglo. He is a good lad. He's been on my channel a couple of times. Did you see that one, Dan? He wants you here more often.
Yeah,
Anglo does.
Don't blame him.
I just want to share this. What was I going to say? What were you just saying, Dan? Oh yeah, Steve Laws. Andrew Gold said to him, he said, you can't just send loads of people out of the country to go back home. And Steve Laws said, well, we brought them here, so why can't we send them home? And Gold was a bit stuck on that one, because there has been a concerted effort to bring millions of immigrants into the UK. So all you need is a concerted effort to send them back. Yeah. John Palmer bought a future. Happy New Year, bruv. I pulled my Sydney Sweeney 20 years ago and I'm still with her today. Hoy to that. Where's your shirt? I know. I really fucked up. I'm so sorry about that. Always good to have Dan on. It is always good to have Dan on. And someone, I'm guessing that's Spanish chicken, but it might not be. You can let me know in the chat if whoever wants to admit to that. 5 futures. Happy New Year, Shagger. I'll take it. Cheers. Love your vids. Great guest. Thank you very much, the pair of you. Now, Daniel I've got the link up, and it's so the funny thing about this, if people don't know, and I can't imagine there's many people don't know, But what's his name, Dan, again?
Nick Lowles.
That's it. Nick Lowles from Hope Not Hate. One really funny thing that happened was every year, Hope Not Hate, who say they're another NGO, but they're not. They're a Quango. Quick distinction. An NGO is a non-governmental organisation. They're independent, but
Allegedly,
it has been proven that Hope Not Hate allegedly have received money from the government. Now, Hope Not Hate every year do this thing called something like Right Wing Roundup or something like that.
It's the State of Hate report.
That's it. That's it. That's the one. Fair play.
And you and I have been in it several times to our credit.
Yeah. When Dan used to be making videos, when this all started happening around 2016 and they done their first, well, what I think was their first State of Hate because the right was gaining traction, it became a badge of honour. As soon as it was released, everyone would go there like, am I on it? Am I on it? Like, Horace, you're on the State of Hate report.
We're the only people who read it. We're their biggest audience. That's it.
I mean, their Twitter account has got something like 70,000 followers, apparently. And everything they post gets like 2 replies. And they're usually someone saying, fuck off, shut up. It's not
they turn off comments as well. They don't allow replies.
They done that thing with me, didn't they? It was such a clash of aesthetics. I had my silly big Ushanka on, my little sunglasses and like bare chest, and it said far right YouTuber Chris Dangerfield operating from his base in Cambodia, and like I was just there going, not looking like a goon, and there was about 5 comments, and most of them were like, have you seen his channel? I mean, operating from his base, no streaming from his house. I mean, slightly different, but Anyway, I haven't watched this, what Dan has sent us here, so we're gonna end with this. It's only 1 minute and 26.
Can I tee it up just before you play it? Let me tee it up.
Of course you can.
So Nick Lowles has been interviewed on some radio show, and he's essentially saying that the tactics that he and his organization used to employ back in the day, as in he can get you fired from your job if you express some far right opinion online, they don't work anymore, and people don't care now. So he's basically complaining that they're losing the war. And I'll let you play the clip so you can see him.
Oh, hang on. Can you say a little bit more? Because I'm lining up a tune for Anglo.
All right. Well, I mean, everyone knows Hope Not Hate is clearly a governmental organization. They have made it their mission to destroy people's lives who have done the horrendous crime of expressing concerns about their way of life.
They're awful.
They are evil people. I don't use that word a lot, but Nick Lowles and his crew are fucking evil bastards, and I don't care about them at all. I think they need the worst things to happen to them.
And like you just said, most of their tactics is like really underhand doxing, not actually going to change anything politically, just putting a geezer and his wife and his kids out of a job, things like that.
They're very scummy. They just try and ruin your immediate life, and it's ridiculous and it's detestable. And he deserves no sympathy whatsoever. I think if you these people are traitors. That's the word. They are traitors, and they should be treated with such contempt. I have no sympathy for him or anyone else at all.
Anglo, I think Mumford's taken his channel down. I haven't spoken to him in about a year. We had one of our falling outs, and I can't find it. I was going to play Cold Hard Steel for you, but I can't find his channel. And usually I just type in Paul Mumford and it comes up. So apologiatus. It's going to have to be something else. I know what it's going to be. Right, I'll just rack that up. Right, here we go then, people. So you got a bit of background on Nick Knowles. And here he is, hopefully making a complete tit of himself.
Oh, yes.
Which he does effortlessly.
The internet and the online space has transformed the fortunes of the far right. You know, not only when I first started in the late 80s.
Oh, so people being able to talk to each other and not just the BBC telling everyone what's going on has helped people put their arguments forward.
Imagine that was a very quick click for a pause that you've done there, Chris.
Yeah, I'll just play the whole thing. Sorry.
Space has transformed the fortunes of the far right. You know, not only when I first started in the late 80s, unless you literally knew someone who was in a fascist group, you could never join. There was no website, there was no office. You couldn't buy something in a shop. You had to know someone. It was a very violent world then. But I think, and so the internet and in a way the far right have been much better at utilizing new media platforms, partly because they've had to, because they've been taken off.
What, Joe Rogan?
Off certain platforms.
Francis Foster.
Created their own. Partly you've got super rich people in the US literally providing them with platforms, but you know there is this
super rich and very intelligent.
By the way, this is the guy who has made it his life's mission to ban us from the internet. So now he's complaining that we're using the internet to communicate with each other. Even though for the last 10 years he's been at the forefront of controlling censorship online to get us off.
It's mad that he's gutted that people are allowed to communicate with each other. I mean, it's just that he has this. He's got this sort of belief that only what his ideology is the right one, and everyone else shouldn't be able to talk about it.
But
that's all I'm getting from this.
He's probably a gay guy.
Well, that doesn't really affect anything, but I can't see any of the gays I know going near him. Look at him.
20 years ago, 30 years ago, there was literally a social and economic consequence for being a far-right activist. You lost your job, you got shunned by your family.
Oh, the good old days, yeah? Political difference.
Let's go back to those days where you can't be honest about your beliefs because you get fired. Yeah, great.
And your friends. Now you earn a good living. And by a good living, I mean, Tommy Robinson, whether his money goes directly into his bank account or to other accounts, will...
Oh, so you don't know. You haven't got a clue. You haven't got actually any data on that. Good guess.
Earn millions every year. I mean, that is the scale. But
how does he know that, really? He just said whether it goes in a bank account in his name, as if Stephen Yaxley Lennon's got a bank account. Come on. He's obviously not got a bank account in Tommy Robinson's name. So how? I'm not saying Tommy Robinson isn't getting paid by people. I don't know. But how does he know?
Because Nick Knowles works for the government. That's why.
That's a fair point.
That's the truth.
Yeah.
Ignore the street as well, because I think what we've seen over the summer with the rising rhetoric around hotels, the protests, the flags, which is a kind of...
Wow, what an amazing, deceptive bastard. The rising rhetoric around hotels. Yeah, hotels are the problem. I made a video the other day, Dan. They were talking about, they put these bollards up. They move like Daleks. I'm not joking. They're your Christmas bollards, yeah? And Birmingham City Council. And they're talking about them, and at no point in the tweet and the video about them do they say it's to stop people coming in and ramming you over and killing you because they hate you. They
crush you onto an 18-wheeler truck. Yes, no.
Yeah, they describe them as something like it's something like harmful vehicles. No, that's it. Yeah, they're called HVBs, harmful vehicle bollards. It's something like that. And when I retweeted it, everyone said, "Oh, it's those driverless cars, is it?"
Right.
Ridiculous. Shay, hang on, I'll get back to that one. Here, let's finish this one.
Driven by Tommy Robinson's gang. The consequence of that has been rising racism in society.
What an absolute Burke. Absolute.
I think if you scroll down the comments, maybe mine is somewhere.
Woes, he's a despicable man. Dutton, why are you platforming evil? Dutton, Krishnan, I can't bully people into silence anymore in order to gain a sense of self-esteem. I'm left alone, confronted by a shattered self that I despise, masturbating until I ejaculate air, while my former victims wake up and fight back. Help. And Dan says, a C-bomb. There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
No Chance says, didn't this guy incite a violent reaction by claiming white people were acid attacking Muslims after Southport? He should be in prison. And Count Dankula says, wow, I can't get them fired anymore. These guys will do literally anything except actually challenge the ideas. And Steve Laws says, remigration is inevitable and Nick's going to be put in prison for crimes against the British people. Jesus.
I would support a lifetime imprisonment sentence for Nick Laws. Yeah, fantastic.
Shay 71 Shay, the civil service in the UK needs to be broken before anything can happen. Break them and we'll take it all back lawfully. It's interesting. It's a good point, actually. Nice one, Shay. Anglo drops Anglo, have you had a drink, or you getting your job back as just you're making up for the very generous donations you used to make, like one a stream over the last year. I'll take it as that. It's very kind of you. Muslim Mayor of London, Muslim Mayor of New York. Yeah. That's their two facts. Wow.
Can I say the Muslim? So, oh God, I don't know the names, but I think one of them is Ant Middleton. Is that a guy?
The ex-SAS bloke.
Right. So there's a segregated culture of people who want to get Sadiq Khan out of his seat, right? And God bless them, their heart's in the right place, but they don't really understand what's going on. And Ant Middleton's one of those people. And they say, we need to get rid of Sadiq Khan because he's a terrible person. He's a terrible mayor. He's flooding London with all these Muslims and blah, blah, blah. And they don't understand that Sadiq Khan has a job for life because of demographics. And that's just the way it is. And Ant Middleton is saying, I'm a British person. I was in the army. I'm going to do this and that. Mate, you've got no fucking chance. Sorry.
I think he's already been slandered out of the gig, to be honest with you. I think something happened.
But it doesn't matter if he was slandered or not. He just has no chance to begin with. Because Sadiq Khan has the demographics on his side. That's it.
Why can't I find anyone's channels? 42, I'm up for that, but I can't seem to find your channel.
By the way, before we end, I think we've got about 10 minutes before we end.
I've got it, 42. Yeah, go on. You're all right.
So how was your Christmas? Because you live on the other side of the world.
Nothing.
Fuck all. Nothing.
Yep, nothing.
Not even a Christmas cracker? Nothing?
I live in a Buddhist country and they don't celebrate it. The most I saw... Oh, no, tell a lie. Friends of mine sent us over 2 Christmas cakes. And they sent us over 2 because last year they sent us 1 and I ate all of it. And my missus told them. So this year they sent us 2 over. 1 with my missus' name on it and 1 with my name on it.
So why aren't you imposing yourself on their culture?
Because I'm a guest in their country.
Who cares?
And
do it.
Nah. Well, I'm imposing myself.
Be a Western colonizer, Chris. Do it.
No, because I'm a nationalist and I think it belongs to the Khmer people.
There you go. Amazing.
What's the video called, my friend? Is it alive? How do I find it? 42 says the England Day song for an outro. And Anglo, thanks for the donation, 42. Anglo's made another donation. Nice one, 42. England Day, Chris. Doc Shelley has dropped a Lady Godiva in. Happy New Year, Chris and Scrubbage. Lovely one, Doc. Lovely one, Anglo. Lovely one, 42. And that was a good call, Anglo. Yeah, it's. I'm more. I'll tell you where I stand on all of this. This is my summary. 42. Right. Tell me what to put it in a normal chat, or you can donate if you want. But Dan, if you can keep an eye out for 42 in the normal chat, that would help me while I'm summarizing, because there's a song I actually feature in the song, I think. Here's where I stand on all of this. I'm more optimistic than I've ever been. Me and you made a video about a year ago, Dan, and it was called England is Over. And it was meant to be provocative. You know, it got about 9,000 views. No. And we discussed...
Hugh came on.
I don't think it was that one. I think it was one after that one.
England is over. Hugh jumped on that. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. But now what I'm thinking is more towards Gavin Bobby's thing. Gavin Bobby says that because there are no-go areas in the UK already. Oh, apparently we're above Sweden now in the grape rankings. Something like 177 in every 100,000 people will get graped now. England are worse than the Congo or something ridiculous.
We always win. We always win.
But Bobby says that because you've got these no-go areas where people just don't go because it's too dangerous, white people, because they're not collectivized. But they need plumbers, they need locksmiths, they need carpenters, they need window fitters, they need tradespeople. But because it's too dangerous, they park their van up, all their tools disappear, and then the van goes. And they don't get paid. They do the work, and then the people are like, yeah, go on, fuck off. Not all of them, obviously, but enough times. And Bobby says he's got data on this, so no one goes in there. And Bobby's, not his exact words, but words to the effect of, they are making their own areas so hideous. He says something like, they're drowning in their own shit, really. and the people who aren't extremists, I know that's a bit weird because you might not be an extremist, you might not be in a grooming gang, but you didn't say anything when you knew it was all happening. That's the bit that bothers me. That's, because that's pretty extreme, isn't it, to know it's going on, but because they're your people, you don't say anything to the other people.
Right.
So, but they're not here for the food. They're not here for the weather. They're not here for Noel Edmonds. I kind of feel that, that was odd. I kind of feel that obscure, a lot of them are going to start going home voluntarily en masse because it's just not. They're certainly noticing hostility towards them. If we're noticing the Overton window, that's what the Overton window is. It's the political climate and discourse of the era. They're noticing it. They'll be noticing it. They're thinking, this isn't the country that we came to. I'm going back where I can be, among my people. I can hear my call to prayer. I can eat my food wherever, etc., etc. I read an article the other day that was saying most foreigners at UK colleges and universities, I'm not going to pick a number out of the air because that's irresponsible, but it said most foreigners at universities in England aren't planning on staying once they get their degree. A lot of them are going to Dubai. That's high. Dubai seems to be the place to go at the moment. But they're not staying here. And I'm actually quite optimistic that would start like a snowball effect, because the fewer and fewer of you there are, the less power those gangs that walk the streets and cause all sorts of trouble they haven't got the backup. You know, the old Bill leave them alone because they know they'll have 500 of them chasing them down the street, you know, after smashing all the windows or whatever. When they haven't got that, it's not so safe for them. And also what you said about the El Salvadorian situation, that's also, that has happened. That has happened. And he what's his name? Woolley or something, isn't it? He went and talked to Trump. The El Salvadorian bloke, his name's something like Booley or something.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. Whatever. Bukele or something.
Yeah, I always don't want to guess it because I feel like I'm going to say Bukake.
No, you. but no, you used to call him Bellew, as in Tony.
Yeah,
Bellew.
it's something like that, isn't it?
No, I can't remember his real name.
Nayib Bukele.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. So that has actually happened. So if you look at that situation where you just round up the trouble and lock them up, it's terribly authoritarian. Any more authoritarian than it already is. People are being locked up in England for saying things on X. I mean, really? And then you've got these no-go zones that are just becoming rotten ghettos where the houses are crumbling, the sewage isn't working. A couple of super chats. Shay71 Shay, buying a wooden brick. Shay Ragnarsson, you have got it. You have got it. It's a long one though. Really should be 40.
Yeah.
That amount of letters, but
it's difficult chisel.
You have made other donations today, so if it says Shay Ragnar, you'll know that I got tennis elbow or something. But I'll do my best. I'll put it in. I'll put it on the Scrubs wall. Dan, got anything else to say?
Well, I would just like to say that this Christmas I was abroad. So I think when did I fly out? The 18th of December, and I came back last Saturday. So basically a week ago. And I spent my time in Europe with friends that I have over there. I was in Italy, and then I went to other countries. I spent a bit of time in Serbia, actually. And one thing that I noticed, which was very it told a lot, was that people who, once they found out that I was British, they wanted to talk to me about the state of Britain. They were saying, "Oh, what's going on with the UK?" Because they've seen all the shit. Jesus, wow, boy, racist. They've seen all the shit online on Twitter, I assume X, and they've got this impression in their heads about what this country is like. And that's all anyone wanted to talk about. And in Eastern Europe, they're switched on. I mean, come on, they are very switched on. They've got their own problems, but they know what's good and what's bad. And I think the global view of Britain is very, very negative from what I've seen.
No, without a doubt. I mean, when you say they've got problems, I mean, countries have problems with resources, they have problems with crime, they have problems with the economy, they have problems with infrastructure, but demographics is a completely different problem.
Yeah, that's another issue. Their problems are corruption, for example, the roads. Right. They look at us and they think, why does London look like, Nigeria?
Mogadishu.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I would much rather have a few potholes in the roads like out here than, reversing demographic replacement could take generations and generations. And when people start talking about civil wars these days they go on forever. They just go on forever.
Yeah.
42.
I think it's been a wonderful stream. I do think it's
hang on, Dan. Hang on. Let me just wind up with these. Frank Frankenstein as another donation. Love to you both. 2026 could go down in history. Iconoclast loved your vids and they opened my eyes to the pain we face. Dangerfield, I love you too. That Iconoclast, I loved your vids. Dangerfield, I love you too. Backhanded compliment. Thank you very much.
But they said they opened my eyes to pain. You give me pain. That's what they're saying.
You hurt
Good
me,
Lord.
Dan. Thank you, Frank. Linda, there's the other antipathy. And hello, Christopher, darling. Dan, Scrubs, Hoyt, XOX, Happy New Year. Lovely to see you, Linda. And Anglo has donated. Chris, I've had a 40% pay rise. Skills pay the bills. Well, this is what I'm hoping. I can write, I can YouTube. I haven't been this happy in 10 years. When I started my business, it was all creative, it was all good fun. And over the last sort of 8 years, it's just become a lot of admin. E-commerce has become just not creative, and I should have walked away years ago. The day I told my business partner, I'm done with this, he looked at me like, and when that it went off about 2 hours meeting, I sat back and I was like, thank fuck. And ever since then, I've been over the moon. So well done to you. Looks like losing your job last year turned out nice. So brilliant. Thank you very much, Anglo. Appreciated. And Linda's been on the firm for 11 months. No, you haven't, Linda. You've been on the manor for years. I'll just check the buy me a coffee. No, we're all good there. 42. How do I get, what video is it? I know you've probably written it in the chat a few times, but you're going to have to do it again because I've missed them all. If you do it now, I'm looking. Baz wants to know whether his comment, I can't put comments, only names, because they'll be far too long. Brick, your Dutch OG. Did I miss that one? No, I didn't. It's too long. It's too long, Baz. Your Dutch OG scrub friend, Baz. Jesus. That's a no. Right, search England Day duck race. Okay. Also, it's on the. It's not on your channel. It's on old Dave's Waffle House. England Day duck race. So 42. Do you want to tell us a little bit about it before I play it? In the chat before I play it. It'll be the outro music. The outro music is also particularly good. Oh, we've heard that one, haven't we? That's not a new one. 42 asked me if he said he's written a song for England Day, and he asked me, I think this is the one, it'd be embarrassing if it isn't. And I said, can I do that line? And I recorded a bit of audio, and he got a load of other scrubs and a load of other people from the sort of scrubs adjacent channels like 42s and Dave's Waffle House, and also people like Sensum and a few others and people I don't know. And they all sort of sung a couple of lines. And I think, well, I don't think, I know our bass player friend helped him put the music together because they've done songs with each other before.
Hang on a second. So
no, that is a new one.
Chris.
Yes.
That reminds me. I thought we did some voice recordings for this animated thing. Was it Lego people? Can you remember this?
Oh yeah.
What happened to that? Bricktator, yeah. Was that released? I
think that was for the lock picking one. I've got that. I'll send you that. That. But it went on. He sent me a load of videos he's made on Sora advertising my new book. Actually, they're excellent. And he's got all different people in history going. Chris Dangerfield's released a new novel. I hear it's commercially viable, because I kept saying that before it was finished. Because the other one wasn't, and then it would be like 1066, and someone will be an archer, and then they turn around and go, Chris Dangerfield's released another book, and the other guys will go, I've heard it's commercially viable. Then it'll be a couple of Thai ladies, Chris Dangerfield's is commercially viable. They will get used, but I'm going to use. I've got them stashed up for a later push.
I just remember doing a voiceover.
Hang on, Dan, or I'll forget. Hang on, or I'll forget. People, please like the stream, because when they're lives, people forget to like, and if it gets liked, and you can hype it, I think it will get pushed to more people. And I think these are important conversations, and I'd like to help promote my channel. I'm not going to pretend it's just for the important conversations. Obviously, I want more people to watch it. Anglo's made another donation. It's excellent work. We're blessed with 42. No, we really are. Thank you, Anglo. We are blessed. Now, let me see. Right, I've got it. So here we go, people. Listen, if you're considering... Whoa. If you're considering buying my book, or you're going to buy my book, I'm not asking you to buy it, but go and have a look. The link in the description. Or if you're not in England, just go to the Amazon in your country and type in either my name or Loving the Time of Nudie Max, and you'll be able to buy it from your Amazon. But the link to the UK one and the US one, I think, is in the description. But if you're considering it, or you're going to, do it sort of tonight or tomorrow, because 5 or 10 in a small batch is worth more than 30 over a few weeks. It's weird, but if you're already thinking about it, I'm just letting you know that that would be better for me. And if you're thinking about it anyway, it makes no difference to you, is what I'm saying. I will be putting your messages on the screen. Daniel, I'll let you go. Show Dan some love in the chat, people. It's always a pleasure, Dan. You know you're welcome to come on. All you've got to do, ping me a WhatsApp and say, fancy a stream? And as ever, I'll say yes. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you, everybody. Happy New Year.
You too, Dan. Sure. Oh, by the way, people, Dan is a Sunderland supporter. And again, okay, football's not for everyone, but Sunderland were promoted. In the last 3 years, most of the 3 teams go up from the first division, the championship, and 3 go down. And the last few years, it's usually the 3 that go up that go down, because they just haven't got the money to compete with Premier League teams. Sunderland, I think, are 7th at the moment, and they haven't lost a game at home yet. The only other team that has done that is Arsenal, which is 8 in a row or something.
Look, it is over the moon. It wasn't sports ball. Fuck sports. No. You cannot enjoy sports. Fuck you. I will.
It's really weird. I always get it, but look, I know JP's only joking. There you go. Arius says Sunderland, so he's not a football fan.
How dare
I tell you what, though, Dan, if you end up the end of this season higher than Newcastle, oh my days.
Who cares about them? They're useless.
There are. It's an art. St James's Park is hard to. Anyway, let's not end on football. It's been a great stream. Like the stream, people. This is a track that 42 put together, and I hope you enjoy it. Dan, take care. I'm going to ditch you from the stream. Show Dan.
Thank you, everyone. Ciao, ciao.
Have a great 2026, Dan. Ta-da.
2016, 2006. Yes. Ciao, ciao. Good night.
Dan said ciao, ciao. Frightening. He's lovely, though, and he always a good stream with Dan. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll take that thing off the bottom. We don't want that ruining things. I like that. There you go. Oh, almost as if I know what I'm doing. Amazing. So this is 42's England Day song. I hope I can get it played. You have it's 4 minutes long, which is ample time to donate. Right, hang on. Entire screen. That's the one with audio. See if you can pick out names. You'll certainly hear mine. I think they turned it up in the mix because I'm famous. Ta-da! Hang on, that didn't sound like the right one. Hang on. That was England. That's what I found when I went to England duck race. England duck race. That's only it says England Day duck race. There's only one video there, 42. Look, England Day duck race, England Day. England Day. The English raise the colours. Is it that one? Areas, leave it out, mate. Come on. It's fucking about 3:45 in the morning here. Yeah, but Anglo, that's what I've got. Look, England Day, it's got the English raise the colours and English Day duck race. That's the only ones that are on there. Right, so it's the English raise the colours 42. Yes. Right, let's start again. See you in a bit, people.
Who are ye, in rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way?
We are English.
We come from the edge of Europe,
beyond which lies only water, ice and death. This is the place we made our home.
Raised our cattle, planted the crops, evoked their gods from circles formed of stone, so those gods could witness us atone.
The Roman forces did invade. We fought as lions, refused to yield, and those we left out in the field, of the English, they were the seed.
Who adversity did propagate, an indomitable people who we would fight, toil and mock in equal measure, and find humour in our adversity, because that is our way. The battle-weary tribes besieged by Vikings, banded as brothers with angles, tubes and sacks. It took some years of consideration to produce our culture of toleration. The creation of the English nation at Stamford Bridge we won the day, but William was quickly on his way.
1066, the commutation brought the cursed Norman invasion. A ruling class they would impose until calls for Magna Carta arose. And to all the kings the message was sent: you only rule us by consent.
So what of the English, I hear you ask? You know it is the working class, the ones whose toil, blood and sweat brought you the greatest empire yet. So you should learn, and your mother's knee, of revolutions that number 3.
That number 3. 1, 2, 3.
Agricultural, where mechanised planting and harvesting was married to selective breeding. We created a food service, the envy of the world. Industrial, where we conjured cities to house factories inhabited by a well-equipped workforce to man the machines. This coupled to the ingenuity of English engineers who never found a problem without a solution. The third, the glorious one, that brought about civil and religious liberty, one rule for all, and the radical notion that a man should profit from his labours. But we are not greedy. We exploited our language, our law, our sense of fair play. In our safe shipping lanes trade flows through never-ending day.
And when Britannia ruled the waves,
we used our power to free all slaves. We managed the world and allowed all others to travel in the social order we created with humour in adversity, because that is our way. Achievements we have too many to list. From this small kingdom God has kissed, we travelled the world from the highest mountain to Arctic's Kabatic tundra and back again. The traces of our kindness are in our railway lines that transport the world to work, our compassion in the water systems that hydrates foreign soil.
We left everywhere better than we found it, because that is our way.
I could list another thing or two, like how we taught the world to queue, but I'll leave that for another occasion. It's time to have a celebration, admire the wonders of our creation. To our ancestors, homage we must pay for doing things the English way. For we are the English, and this is our day.
Who are you? In rags and rotten shoes, all dirty and bearded, blocking up the way.
We are the pilgrims, master. We shall go always that little bit further. It may be beyond that last blue mountain barred with snow, across the angry or glimmering sea. We are the English.
Every Englishman's house is his castle. So hoist your colours on the ramparts for England Day. Then down after St George's Day. We are English and we'll be patriotic in an organised way.
Whoa, amazing. Mate, that's the first time I've heard the whole thing through. I heard 42 sent me like a rough cut a while back, but that was amazing. Right, listen, my missus is calling me. What's the time? It's 4 o'clock, at 10 to 4 in the morning. I want to thank everyone who donated, of course. I want to thank Dan, of course. It's a lot of time. How long's that stream been? 3 hours and 20 minutes. I want to thank the moderators who weren't here tonight. They're not needed, but we do love them. But most of all, as ever, I want to thank all of you for turning up. Please like the video. It does help me. It helps spread these messages. And thanks to everyone who bought my novel, and thanks to everyone who might buy it. That's really helping me. And sorry I didn't wear a shirt. It was all a bit of a last-minute muck-up because of the green screen kept falling down. But I'll see you soon. I'm very happy. What a lovely ending to a stream, and what a great stream. Oh, I've got a video coming out about feminism. Keep your eyes out for that one. All right. Ta-da. Hoita.